Good luck.
What's going on, YouTube? Back at you with another video. I'm here with my brother,
the Mr. No Days Off, aka the Prince of Fresh Air, Percy Brown. Thank you for having me, man.
my man. So the other day we had a bit of a debate, and today we're gonna have a bit of a run back. So, bruh, tell me what your problem is.
Well, my problem is, so let me tell the people what my problem is. So Soulja Boy, as we all know, fresh off his verses with Bow Wow, a lot of people's been raving about him, talking about how legendary, how respected he is in the industry. But I gotta say, I don't think Soulja Boy will go down as being legendary. I think he might be one of those people we remember for now, but in 10 years, people are going to forget about him, his achievements, and he won't go down as one of the greats of the music industry.
All right, so now I'm gonna say that that's a big load of cap and it's a big load of fucking bullshit. Because again, Soulja Boy is somebody that will be talked about in 10 to 20 years from now because he's the one who set the standard for the way that the music industry is right now. Everybody, all the biggest people in the industry, for everything that they're profiting off of right now, they have Soulja Boy to thank for that. Because if it wasn't for him, there would be no streams, there'd be no vlogs, there'd be no Instagram lives, there'd probably be no motherfucking FaceTime. There probably would be no streaming sales counted as album sales. None of that shit. So there's no valid rebuttal to that.
But you know what I say? I push back on that. And let me clarify. I'm not saying I hate Soulja Boy. I actually like Soulja Boy. I think what he does and what he has done shouldn't be undervalued. But I'm going to use this as a reference. You know, when you look at, for instance, T-Pain, what he did, right? T-Pain was one of the first people. Well, he was the first person to make auto-tune and
No, he wasn't. T-Pain wasn't even the first one to make auto-tune popping. That was Zapp and Roger. Zapp and Roger did that shit in the fucking 80s and 90s. If you don't believe me, listen to a song called I Want to Be Your Man by Zapp and Roger. You know what I'm saying? Roger,
no.
Zapp, whatever his name is. So he did that shit. So technically, T-Pain is just a carbon copy of what was done before. Nobody did what Soulja Boy did before him. Facts. And
but
we can't say that Dem Franchize Boys and Laffy Taffy, none of that shit, because that shit don't count. Because they had those dances and nobody's doing that shit today. Nobody talks about the Dem Franchize Boys and the D4L today. They don't talk about them today. They talk about Soulja Boy today. That's a fact.
Oh no, most definitely, I agree with you. But it's because Soulja Boy is still young. He's having a resurgence in his career. But the reason why I brought up T-Pain was even though T-Pain wasn't the first, he made it so popular to the fact that a lot of artists Kanye West, Jay-Z, a lot of them started using it for concerts, using auto-tune in concerts, and every music video, every song, they wanted T-Pain.
No. Jay-Z didn't use autotune because he came out with Death of Autotune. And if T-Pain if T-Pain was all that great, then Death of Autotune wouldn't have killed his career like he said that he did. You see what I'm saying? See, Jay-Z was a legend up until that point. So was Ice-T. Ice-T literally said that Soulja Boy killed hip-hop. And that didn't affect his career not one bit. Soulja Boy is still here. So despite what a lot of the older rappers tried to do when they tried to attack him, in 2007, 2008, none of that worked. And in fact, he thrived after that. So T-Pain already got debunked. When did Death of Autotune come out? In 2009. So really, T-Pain only had a run for, let's say 2005, from I'm Sprung to 2008, 2009. That was pretty much it. So he was done. And in the meantime, I'm gonna look that up just to make sure.
Oh, no. Yeah, I think the reason why Soulja Boy was able to resurge himself was because, let's be real here. After 2011, 2012, people didn't talk about Soulja Boy. People forgot about him. The music industry moved on because, when you have artists like Drake, Kanye, booming the industry, they don't really care about the Soulja Boys. But because Soulja Boy did the Breakfast Club interview a few years back, and he talked about how he felt underappreciated and people didn't respect him, even though he was the one that started the culture of, making music and being popular on the internet, he never really had that success that can boom him to the top.
I'm gonna tell you why.
Soulja Boy made good music for the young generation, but he didn't make music that was universally loved by like Michael Jackson, for instance. When you play Billie Jean, you could play that at anywhere, for any age, any function. you won't play Crank That, you know, with your parents. You know, you won't play Crank That.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But
so I think.
But I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you exactly why Soulja Boy wasn't as prominent. And because you said 2011, his third album came out in November of 2010, right? And that was at a time where there was extra pressure on, you know, all artists, really, particularly R&B and hip hop artists, to sell albums. That was still an era where people were still going out to buy albums and shit like that. And the only artists that were really selling was like Beyonce, you know, freaking, you know, Kanye, and, you know, art, like top tier artists like that. You know what I'm saying? His album sold 13,000 copies. That was a time where people were streaming music, but those were not counted. If people were counting streams for Pretty Boy Swag, Mean Mug, fucking Speakers Going Hammer, and all those other songs, 30,000, 100 million, all those songs on that album, that shit would have been platinum. That shit would have been platinum. Because I bet you if somehow we could go back and check the numbers on what he was doing on YouTube and different streaming services and shit like that existed at that point, those were in the hundreds of thousands, if not millions of freaking plays. You know what I'm saying? So he suffered for an industry that was before its time. Because after that album, people changed after that. So they're like, all right, we're going to have him come out, and then he's going to take all the bumps and bruises. And then let's say a couple of years after that was when they really started to count, you know, saying streams, because people weren't buying albums no more. So that's not his fault. So we can't say that, oh, Soulja Boy fell off. It had nothing to do with the music. It had everything to do with where the music industry was at that time. The music industry was still expecting people to go to Target and Best Buy to go buy albums. Niggas wasn't doing that shit anymore. And then once that shit was starting to hurt the bigger artist sales, they were like, yo, we got to go back to the drawing board. But Soulja Boy did that. Soulja Boy been doing that. Soulja Boy was already putting out his songs for free on YouTube and freaking MySpace and all those other freaking streaming platforms and social media platforms. He was the first one to do that. So if we look at everything that's going on right now, he was doing that in 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011. Like the Juice mixtape was a mixtape. And I bet you if that was like an iTunes album, which I don't know why he didn't do that at the time, but let's say if he did, that would have been a platinum selling or at least a gold selling album. So that wasn't his fault.
But you know what, though? I say this because, like I said, I do respect Soulja Boy and everything he's done. I have really no problem with him. But if you look at the long-term aspect, yeah, what he did was ahead of his time, and what he did is by far, you have to give him credit for it. But we always see this time and time again in the music industry. You always replace, and that's what happened with Soulja Boy. You know, when who do you get replaced by? Not replaced, but when you have the era of the new boys and you know the bunch of other people that came out with dance songs on the internet.
Guys are not even they don't even count. They don't even count.
No. But I'm just saying when you look at the era,
there are blip. You're a Jerk was a blip in freaking hip hop history. No, like next. I'm not even gonna talk about them niggas. Go ahead. My bad.
Oh no. But what I'm saying is, you know, after Soulja Boy kind of fell off, maybe not due to him, but when he fell off, then the era of the new boys and other artists that were making dance songs on the internet started coming. People didn't say, "Oh, where's Soulja Boy at?" People kind of moved on from him.
Soulja Boy was hot. Soulja Boy was bigger than Drake when the New Boys came out. Like that's the thing, because Drake dropped in 2009. Like I remember somebody saying that somewhere on the internet that there was a point when Soulja Boy was bigger than Drake. That was when he was on tour with Lil Wayne, the whole Young Money, Nick Minaj, everybody. They had him on tour. And then when he brought 50 Cent out on that tour, that was the highlight of that show that night. Facts.
But what I'm getting at is Soulja Boy is not an artist. As much as I like him, people only invite him to tours on music songs when he finds a way to research himself. Because let's be real here. For many years, nobody talked about Soulja Boy. Nobody was like, "Oh, let's put Soulja Boy on his song."
But I just told you why that's not his fault. Because if that's the case, then every single artist that's hot right now, and like I said, the Migos, Future, Bluface, Chief Keef, Travis Scott, Sheck West, all of these niggas sound just like Soulja Boy. They all sound just like Soulja Boy. So they are successful artists right now. They're reaping the benefits of a blueprint that he laid down way before. So when these niggas were working 9 to 5s or in high school or doing whatever and were regular people, unknowns, he was doing it. they were all watching him. So, of course, when they finally got in a situation where they could start making some money, they sounded just like the nigga that they've been watching for X amount of years. So, again, you got to give the credit where credit is due. Niggas don't want to give Soulja Boy his credit. You know why? Because if they do, then that would make him the GOAT. Facts. He would be up there with Jay-Z, Kanye, Nas, all these niggas. If people actually decided to give him his credit, because, again, what are the artists that you know right now, that's out right now, is in the Guinness Book of World Records for a song that they wrote and produced themselves? Can you name me one artist that's in the Guinness Book of World Records right now, a contemporary artist at that?
I couldn't,
because there is none. There is none. Not one of these niggas write and produce their own a #1 record and then go platinum at 16, 17 years old. None of these niggas did that shit. So that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, he is unfairly criticized. You know what I'm saying? Because niggas don't like him for the same reason that niggas don't like me. And I don't even want to get into that because motherfuckers know what it is. Facts. Soulja Boy he's not the greatest of all time, but he's one of the GOATs that will be talked about. Because whether people want to choose to admit it or not, when people talk about the music industry changing, they got to talk about the fucking prototype. And the prototype of all of that was nigga Soulja Boy.
But you know what, though? As much as I agree with you, I don't think he will never get that recognition. Why? Because
he got it already. That's the only reason why he got that resurgence, was because when he was yelling, kicking, and fucking screaming, niggas was sitting there like, dang, like, yo, like what he's saying is kind of making sense. And then when you have the Migos that like do a Breakfast Club interview, and then they're like, oh, so what do you think about Soulja Boy? They're like, yo, Quavo was like, that nigga ain't lying. Like, oh, he said that. Like, they had no choice, because once he was like, yo, if you guys don't give me my flowers, I'm gonna go ahead and take them myself. Fucking, you know what I'm saying? Like, they had no choice. But he set the trend. He set the standard. Remember, I told you the other day, because we had this conversation the other day. Freaking A$AP Rocky's whole thing was, yo, I'm a pretty nigga and all that shit. Who was doing that before? Soulja Boy and Lil B, to be specific, but Soulja Boy was doing that shit first. And then where was A$AP Rocky when all that was happening? Nigga, that was 2009. Nobody knew who A$AP Rocky was. A$AP Rocky didn't really start to come out until 2011 when he had that big mixtape. So he was watching Soulja Boy, like Soulja Boy called himself a pretty nigga, pretty boy millionaires, all that shit. Soulja Boy been there, done that. So when Soulja Boy is saying, yo, I'm the first nigga to do this, I'm the first nigga to do that, listen to the nigga, because he's telling the truth.
But that's what I'm saying. The only reason why people started paying attention was because he started acting out. He started doing interviews and speaking out against it. Nobody really gave him the credit, and they never will. Why? Because he's a fucking young black man. Like, niggas wouldn't want to give me credit for doing some shit that they know I did. If they could shirk the fact that I did some shit, they'll do that. And that tends to happen a lot with black fucking people, particularly black men. That's like if you know, freaking 300 years ago, if you invented, like, if they could tell you right now and lie and say that a white person invented invented peanut butter or the street light, they'll tell you a white person did that shit. And 9 times out of 10, people are going to believe a white person invented something like that they use every day than a black person. So if Soulja Boy said, yo, I invented the way that the music industry operates itself, they can just choose not to give this nigga his credit, and people will just go with it because they didn't really like this guy anyway. So that tends to happen to the GOATs. You know what I'm saying? Like, the greatest people, the people who make the greatest impacts in history aren't usually the most beloved people. Like, honestly, if you think about it, I'm not no fucking Christian, but shit, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Niggas hated Jesus. Motherfuckers didn't like Batman. People don't like Spider-Man. Shit's the same thing with the nigga who cranked that fucking Superman. Real shit. But I'm very hesitant to even put Soulja Boy in the same category as Jay-Z, only because he doesn't have the same catalog. He doesn't have the same longevity. That's what I'm saying. Soulja Boy, the reason why he don't get the credit he deserves, or he will probably, you know, when he stops being popular, people won't care about him. Why? Because they can always find a new Soulja Boy. Let's be real here.
They can't find a new Soulja Boy.
No, yes, they can. Especially, hold on, in this generation, with Soulja Boy's music is not meant to last. You know, Cranked Out was a song that was popular for maybe a few years. You know, yeah, we still listen to our generation sometimes, but we don't put Cranked Out on the radio because his music is not meant to be long lasting. It's supposed to be popular for the time being. You know, Jay-Z, for instance, Jay-Z, Drake, I won't say they make, you know, Michael Jackson type music, but they
don't.
make music that people will always remember, like Death or Autotune, on to the next one,
Right?
Forever. They make music that lasts a lifetime. Soulja Boy doesn't make music that lasts a lifetime.
But he doesn't have to, because nigga changed the industry. That nigga doesn't have to come out with another #1 song ever. You know why? Because he can sit back and say, yo, I changed the fucking industry. And I'll tell you, I was a fan of Soulja Boy. Like, for people who are listening, when I was throughout my whole like middle school, or I say like high school career, like I was a big ass Soulja Boy fan. And I was a nigga in New York that was listening to Soulja Boy before I was listening to anybody else. And I got a lot of shit for it. I didn't see any other artist going live on social media until this nigga was doing this shit. This is how it really goes, right? Back in 2008, there used to be a platform called Kite, right? This nigga Soulja Boy was the only artist that was going live on Kite, talking to his fucking fans, like connecting with his fans and shit like that. Then when that ran its course, he got on the Ustream. He was the first nigga on Ustream. That nigga was like months ahead of everybody else. There weren't no artists on Twitter. That's why he was the first rapper to ever have 1 million followers on Twitter, because he was the first nigga to get on there. You see what I'm saying? Like, he did everything first. Like, everybody seen this nigga and then copied him and then tried to front like he wasn't the nigga that they was watching. The only artist that had a better website than him was motherfucking 50 Cent with thisis50.com. And that's obviously because, 50 Cent was a bigger artist, but still he was looking at Soulja Boy. I bet you he got that shit from souljaboytellhim.com and then made thisis50.com. Motherfucking copycats. He was the first rapper on YouTube, the first artist on YouTube really to freaking make it to be a relative unknown. But because of his activity on the internet, he got a record deal based off of what he was doing on the internet. He laid that whole blueprint down. Because if there was no Soulja Boy, there would be no Justin Bieber. So that means Soulja Boy's contribution to music as we know it today transcends hip hop, because nigga Justin Bieber will probably tell you like, yo, like I was looking at Soulja Boy. You know what I'm saying? Justin, if that's the case, there's a reason why Justin Bieber was like, yo, let me try to find this nigga Soulja Boy's iChat and shit like that when he first fucking came out, to try to talk to the nigga that he was watching when he was broke. So let's be real. You know what I'm saying? I got the facts. I got the receipts. There's literally nothing that anybody can say to convince me that Soulja Boy did not change music history. And the only other artist to have done that and revolutionized the industry was Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was the one that made album sales popping again, because in the early 80s, people weren't buying albums like that. He was the first one to freaking make music videos a staple in artist promotion. So every time an artist had a single, a music video was mandatory to accompany that, because he made that shit so popular. Niggas wasn't doing that shit back then. You see what I'm saying? Soulja Boy did the equivalent, because everything that everybody, okay, so it's like if I sign you to my record label, I'm gonna make sure you have all social media. And in order for your fans to get to know you, I'm gonna probably tell you to get on YouTube or get on Instagram Live and shit like that. You know why? Because Soulja Boy did that shit. Boy did that shit. And the only artists that you don't really see doing that shit are the Jay-Z's of the world and stuff like that, because they're established. So he doesn't have to really do that shit. But Diddy got a freaking Instagram. Diddy's always out there now. Everybody's out there because they was watching this nigga. It's because he had too much swag and shit like that. So they're like, yo, nah, I don't want to give credit to this nigga, yo. So, you know what I'm saying? Nah. And that's how niggas are. That's how niggas are. So Soulja Boy doesn't get his credit. I'll chalk it up to that's how niggas are.
Fair enough. But you know what, though? I'll also say this. So even though Soulja Boy did start a new revolution in the industry, unfortunately, we always see this in history where just because you start something first doesn't mean you will be the person people remember. You know what I'm saying? Lyft and Uber wasn't the first rideshare service, I'm sure. But they became the companies that dominated. Soulja Boy may have been the first to start the new wave of, introducing social media and using the internet to promote yourself. But when you have a career like his, where you don't make music that's everlasting, people forget about you until you find a way to make yourself known again for a flash in the pan. Because let's be real here. A year or two from now, nobody's going to be clamoring for a Soulja Boy hit. Nobody's going to be clamoring to.
We don't know that. Song. We don't know that. See,
but we've seen it in history so far. When he fell off after 2011, people didn't talk about him until he fell off.
I told you exactly why he fell off. You know, saying in 2011. So you can't even mention that anymore. Okay, so to give people some context, we had a conversation the other day about Soulja Boy and Bow Wow, right? So you mentioned T-Pain earlier, and the word that I used to pretty much describe Bow Wow and T-Pain and artists like them is vintage. So people will have a certain appreciation for Bow Wow and T-Pain because these guys represent a certain nostalgia, a time period in people's lives. So it'll bring somebody back to when there was in elementary school, middle school, and high school, when they used to listen to, Let Me Hold You and Like You and Bartender and, saying I'm gonna buy you a drink. Those are, vintage guys. And then, you know what I'm saying? Like, they will always be at a show somewhere and all of that because people love nostalgia. People love to reminisce and kind of, get those old feelings back again. Soulja Boy you can't put him in that category because he's above that. Bow Wow and T-Pain can never say, "Oh, I changed the industry." And this is what I said. The fact that this dude changed the game, like Michael Jordan changed the NBA, that's like let's say Michael Jordan did so much for the NBA. By the time he retired for the first time, if he never came back, he would have still been the greatest of all time. Soulja Boy is like that. Soulja Boy did so much in a short amount of time. He don't have to come out with another Crank That. He doesn't have to come out with another Kiss Me Through the Phone or Swag On because he did so much already. When Soulja Boy was sitting there like, oh, Drake, if there was no validity to what he was talking about, then Drake would have came out and dissed this nigga. But Drake was like, yo, like, the nigga ain't lying, just like Quavo did. I mean, Drake never actually, he did kind of come out and like laugh about it and stuff. And they said that they talked, but hey, he wasn't capping because there was no backlash to that. Like, if you notice, this nigga was calling people out left and right and no one really responded because he was telling the truth. People wanted to forget Soulja Boy, like literally, because you're dealing with a nigga that is strong-willed. He was like, yo, I see what these niggas are trying to do, and I'm not finna let them do that shit. Like, come on, bro. Like, what do you expect? Like, what would you do if you were in his shoes? Like, can you really blame that nigga? It's like, yo, I'm that nigga. If this is what I did for you and you don't want to acknowledge it, hell yeah, I'm gonna talk about this shit. Because you feel me?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, Michael Jackson don't have to demand respect because he got it regardless. Soulja Boy has to demand.
People try to do the same thing to Michael Jackson. You're talking to the number one Michael Jackson fan, like, that you know of.
Of course, I mean,
people do it to him today, and he's not even here to say anything like that. Like, that's the worst part about it. But Soulja Boy is actually still exists today to be able to say, "Yo, like, nigga, this is what I did." Who you guys consider to be the greatest artist right now? That nigga was stealing my lyrics when he first fucking came out. That nigga was going to my songs and then taking a couple of tidbits of lyrics and then throwing them shits in his, and then try to act like he didn't take it from me in the first place. Because again, if that shit was a lie, Drake would have been like, yo, this nigga lying, but it wasn't a goddamn lie. How many artists today can do that? You think Bow Wow can come out and say Drake did this and this and did that? Bow Wow don't got no receipts. Bow Wow knows his lane. That's why Bow Wow's not going to come out and yell the way the Soulja Boy did, because Bow Wow didn't do anything. Bow Wow would be smoking crack if he woke up tomorrow and was like, yo, oh my God, I changed the game. And for some more context, all I said was that Bow Wow, according to him, was the one who he was just a resurgence of a kid artist, because I already debunked the fact that he's the first kid rapper because Criss Cross did it before him. There was already kid rap. They were the first ones to do it. They were a duo, but still they were little kids. And then according to Sammy, I could be wrong, saying I don't care that much to go check the dates, but he was the first little kid to come back with the singing and shit like that, because there was a certain time period where there were little kids, and then that kind of stopped in the mid 90s. And then it came back in the late 90s to the early 2000s. And that's when you had the Bow Wows and the Lil Romeos and the Lil Corys and all the other types of shit. Bow Wow didn't change the game. Bow Wow, I'll quote myself again. Bow Wow was a good artist that was able to stay warm for an extended period of time, periodically coming out with good records and stuff like that. And they were good songs. But Bow Wow was never hot like Soulja Boy was. Bow Wow never had a song that Beyonce was doing, and people in Japan and freaking Paris and London and freaking Africa. Bow Wow can never say, yo, I had the world in the palm of my hands. Not every artist can say that. You know what I'm saying? Not every artist can say that. Does Bow Wow have any records in the Guinness Book of World Records? No. Is Bow Wow in the Guinness Book of World Records for, the youngest kid artist ever? No. Nah, because there were definitely people that done it before. Nothing is new under the sun, but shit, what Soulja Boy did to the industry was fucking new. So again, that's what I said. Soulja Boy now resides in a lane where he no longer has to come out with another. If he chooses to, great. Because I'm not no artist. I don't ever want to be a rapper in life, but I'm pretty sure that it must feel good to have a hot song that everybody's dancing to and everybody knows the lyrics, you know, saying to your songs and shit like that. But if he doesn't do this shit, he don't have to, because he changed the game. And if nobody's gonna acknowledge that shit, I'll fucking say that shit, because the shit is true.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not necessarily saying you're wrong, but what I'm saying is, even though Soulja Boy he made it popular, or he was probably the first to do it, doesn't mean that he's going to go down as, because let's be real. There's going to be a new Soulja Boy that comes along. Someone who dominates, but there will be. But Soulja Boy,
I'm going to say that right now. If by what you're saying, there's a new Soulja Boy, we're staring at a whole bunch of Soulja Boys in the fucking Migos, in Sheck West, in Bluface, in freaking, you know, all these niggas, they all sound like this nigga. And mind you, when you think of Soulja Boy, you think of Turn My Swag On, you think of Crank That, you think of Dunk, you think of these mainstream ass songs, but real Soulja Boy fans know Soulja Boy's catalog of music. It might not be like, you know, a mainstream catalog and shit like that, but this is a guy who's tried several different styles of rap between 2007 and 2012. And I mean, pretty much onward, because I stopped really, you know, listening to his music in 2012, but between that span of time, his styles changed. And then I could play you a song that sounds just like the song that Bluface freaking came out with. The same flow, same shit. The Migos, Soulja Boy put the Migos on. When nobody knew who the Migos were, they were going to his house, making songs and shit like that. And then he said, oh, I introduced them to Travis Scott. Now, I don't know how big Travis Scott was at that time, but shit, so that means if Soulja Boy never rocked with them, then they would have never met him, because it was at his house.
Right.
I bet you, what rapper says, oh, I'm inspired by T-Pain? What hip hop artist says, oh, I'm inspired by T-Pain? But that's what I'm saying. I bet you there's a hip hop artist that's gonna say, oh, I'm inspired by Soulja Boy. Bryson Tiller said, yo, he was a Soulja Boy fan back in the day. I'll send you that interview. Bryson Tiller said, a legit great rapper said that he was watching Soulja Boy. So if he said that, what do you think? And he don't even sound like Soulja Boy. So what do you think the niggas that do sound and look like this nigga will tell you? Rich the Kid sounds just like him.
But I say this too. I think you could say that about every rapper. I'm sure there was people inspired by Bow Wow who became bigger than Bow Wow. There was people inspired by.
I ain't never heard it. I ain't never seen it. Lil Yachty said he was a big Soulja Boy fan. Lil Yachty is like big now because of streaming services and shit like that. Because again, if we had to rely on album sales again, a lot of these niggas wouldn't even be selling anymore. Soulja Boy went through that. He's still here. Could these niggas go through that and still be here? I doubt it. 20 years from now, I don't think niggas is going to be talking about Lil Yachty. I don't fucking know any Lil motherfucking Yachty songs. I mean, he seems like a cool guy and shit like that. I don't know any of his fucking songs. You know what I'm saying? Migos, they're great too. They brought the rap group back, because I don't even think, are there any other rap groups out other than them? Yeah, so they brought that back. But then even then, it's like, what have they done other than being big artists of this time? They didn't do anything. So I think if they're going to be talked about 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I think all people are going to say is, yo, they were a good rap group for that time. That's not greatest of all time shit. That's not.
No, I agree with you. But I also, let me say this. I don't think, like you said, in 10, 20 years, anybody gonna care about Soulja Boy, because let's be real.
I never said that, and I just told you exactly why. Like what you said the other day, because you said, oh, you know, 50 Cent would give more credit to Bow Wow than Soulja Boy. That's fucking cap. Because the XXL magazine interview, niggas can look this shit up. Nigga 50 Cent said, yo, if I had to wish to be any artist in this era right now, and this is 2010, a year before you said he fell off, he said, I would wish to be Soulja Boy. These niggas weren't. Have you ever even seen 50 Cent and Bow Wow in the same room? But I bet you've seen, you know what I'm saying, Bow Wow and 50 Cent, Soulja Boy in the same room. Kanye and Soulja Boy. Kanye not hitting a Bow Wow for a verse. I mean, even if he didn't use it, he still hit the nigga up for a verse. People are not calling Bow Wow again, because Bow Wow is vintage. People don't want to hear no new freaking goddamn freaking Bow Wow records no more, but niggas want to hear a new Soulja Boy verse and shit like that. Nigga, Playboy Cardi look and sound just like Soulja Boy. Even before Soulja Boy quote unquote came back, because Soulja Boy got the blonde dreads now and shit like that. But come on now. This shit sounds exact. Nobody's gonna talk about Playboy Cardi 20 years from now. They're gonna talk about fucking Soulja Boy. You know why? Because Soulja Boy influenced that nigga. Because Soulja Boy came from the same fucking town and city as that nigga. He was like, yo, I was the first nigga making songs with Gucci Mane and shit like that when Gucci Mane was hot. Soulja was the first young nigga to do this shit. All these niggas came and did that shit after. How do I know? Because I was there. Like, you had to be there. If you know, you know. If you wasn't really a Soulja Boy fan like that, and if the only time you ever heard that nigga was Cranked Ass and Turn My Swag On and Kiss Me Through the Phones, then you can't even really speak on the nigga. You can't. But I can know. Shit, I used to play PS3 with this nigga. Like, I fucking know this shit.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Just because you are a hardcore fan don't mean everybody else is going to respect him. That's what I'm saying. Like, Soulja Boy is not a Jay-Z. He's not.
I bet you. And I think I said this shit the other day. If you would have asked Jay-Z, like, you know, what you think about Soulja Boy? I bet you that nigga would give Soulja Boy his props. Of course, but that don't mean along the lines of what I'm talking about right now, which is,
I doubt it.
If they asked Jay-Z, oh, did Soulja Boy change the game? Would you say that Soulja Boy changed the industry? I bet you that nigga would tell you yeah, and he'd be a goddamn lie if he said no. I bet you if you asked him about Bow Wow, what the fuck is he gonna say about Bow Wow? Jay-Z was hotter than Bow Wow at freaking Bow Wow's peak. So how big was Bow Wow really? Honestly, like, let's be real for a second. You know what I'm saying? How big was he really?
He was big when he was a kid.
When he was supposed to be at his peak. Bow Wow is only, like I said, vintage to niggas like us who used to watch Like Mike and Roll Bounce and hear his songs at Big Mama's house and shit like that. Bow Wow's not going to be in the conversation. Like, if there was going to be a Bible written about rap, the history of rap, Bow Wow's not going to be in there. Bow Wow's not going to be in there. He might be like a side note in the small print in the bottom of the page. Like, yeah, this nigga had, you know, a lukewarm record in 2001, but that nigga's not going to have his own chapter. He wouldn't. And if the author of that book were to be honest, Soulja Boy would have his own fucking chapter in there. Facts.
Maybe not. It depends on.
I'm telling you, yeah. Like, if you know, because let me tell you something. I'm somebody where I like looked at the industry by being a fan of Soulja Boy for that long. It made me kind of like look, you know, at the industry in like a panoramic kind of view. Like, you kind of see everything in like, you know, like your peripherals. Like, it's kind of weird for me to explain it. And I noticed how, you know, the industry would change every, you know, so often. And even if Soulja Boy wasn't like in the forefront, that nigga was still behind the scenes, because again, after you say he fell off in 2011, right? The next year when Chief Keef was hot, Chief Keef was at Soulja Boy's house. 2013, 2014, who was at this nigga's house with him? Fucking Migos. You see what I'm saying? And then who was at his house after that? Rich the Kid. Who was at his house after that? Famous Dex. Who was house after that? I can go on and on and on and on and on. This nigga was like the shadowy figure of a lot of these artists that are hot right now. And not one of these niggas that I fucking came out and mentioned, except for Famous Dex, disputed what he said. And then even then, fucking Famous Dex was running the SOD Money Gang chain, the SODMG chain, before anybody knew this nigga. So he was just an example of, yo, I don't want to give that nigga credit. I mean, I get it. I wouldn't want to give a whole nigga credit for my fucking career. But shit, if that's what the nigga did, that's what the nigga did.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, if you know hip hop and we're being honest, that's just the reality of it. You know what I'm saying? That's just the facts. That's just the undisputed facts of the situation, of history, period. And I believe he gets his credit now because, again, if I'm yelling out certain things and people are standing there listening, if no one's saying anything back and they're nodding their head and agreeing with me, then nigga, this shit is true. It's true. Because you see, I saw Soulja Boy at Diddy's house at a party with Issa Rae and Ray J and all these motherfuckers. I didn't see Bow Wow there. You know what I'm saying? Bow Wow wouldn't have been on no verses if it wasn't for no motherfucking Soulja Boy. Real shit.
I think Bow Wow would have been on.
No. Verses. All right. So who Bow Wow gonna do a verses with? Lil Romeo?
Oh, of course.
Romeo came out and Soulja Boy brought this nigga out. So that just goes to show how big Lil Romeo really is if Soulja Boy brought this nigga out. And then what did Lil Romeo do? Lil Romeo played all 4 songs in his fucking catalog.
No, that was terrible.
In fucking 2 minutes. That nigga, they were like, yo, when that nigga was probably backstage, they were like, "Yo, Romeo, you got 2 minutes, nigga."
Yo, I'm still mad he played ICDC
they
College.
told that nigga, "You got 2 minutes." That nigga played "You Can't Shine Like Me," fucking "My Cinderella," and then the other 2 fucking songs that I fucking can't think of. You see what I'm saying? So that just goes to show if he did a verses with Lil Romeo, the shit wouldn't amount to much. And then if he did one with Omarion, that's weird because Omarion's a fucking R&B singer. You can't do you see what I'm saying? So there was he didn't really have another contemporary up to par. You know what I'm saying? And like I said to you the other day, Bow Wow is a good artist. Like if we're talking about like performance wise, like Bow Wow is a good performer. Like you give this nigga a mic and he can perform a fucking song and put on a show. But when we're talking about their careers in its totality and longevity and who is going to be talked about and who's not in what capacity, Soulja Boy is going to be in discussion. If we're talking about real motherfuckers who are not just looking at like, oh, I don't really like this nigga like that. I don't fuck with his music, so I'm not going to give this nigga his credit. Whether you like his music or not, and you are somebody that you just observe the industry like I have, you're going to mention this nigga, period.
But I think to my point, the only reason why I'm saying things I'm saying is because you're a hardcore fan, and I'm sure there's
the
other
thing is, I'm not. I don't
right?
listen to this. No.
Well, not a hardcore fan, but
I don't listen to this nigga's music anymore. Like, there's only like one. Like, mind you, I don't listen to. She make it clap. I don't listen to fucking Rick and Morty. I'm not a fan of like he doesn't make music for me anymore. But I am a fan of what this nigga did for the fucking industry. If Bow Wow did some shit that was game changing, then I would sing his praises too. I'd be like, yeah, yo, nigga, Bow Wow did that shit, but he didn't do anything. Like I said, in the grand scheme of things, Bow Wow is just not in that echelon. Like he's just not. He's not on a Mount Rushmore. And if there was like a Mount Rushmore that was not just limited to 4 people, and let's say
Soulja Boy wouldn't be on.
Wait, and it was limited to 20. Like let's say like 20, like the greatest artist of all time, like just the revolutionary artist that ever existed. Soulja Boy would have to be in the top 20.
He would not make it. He would not.
So who? Okay, so who's your top 10 rappers, or so who would be your top 20? And I would tell you who don't belong in there.
My top 20 off the top,
if you can, like, because I know that's a lot, but I'm gonna pick out who doesn't fucking belong in there, and I'll tell you why. I can tell you exactly why they don't belong in there either.
All right, I got Tupac, Notorious B.I.G.,
okay.
Jay-Z, Kanye, Drake. I say Kanye. I would throw Snoop Dogg, Ice Cube.
You could take Ice Cube the fuck out.
Dr. Dre, Eminem.
You could take Ice Cube the fuck out. You could take.
Oh no, you wildin'.
First of all, Dr. Dre's not even a rapper. Dr. Dre's a goddamn producer. The only thing you could say about Ice Cube, the only thing you could ever say about Ice Cube was that these niggas, I don't want to call them industry plants because they're not, but these were the niggas that they helped start the gangster rap shit, NWA. You should have said Eazy-E. Don't say goddamn.
I was going to mention his name.
Right, but he's the only one that you can throw in there because Eazy-E was a leader. When you think about NWA, you think about Eazy-E. We don't talk about Ice, because Ice Cube, to me, he's somebody that I think he transcended. He's one of those artists that transcended hip hop to the point where when you think of Ice Cube, I mean, maybe it's just me. I don't think of hip hop when I think of Ice Cube anymore. I think of like his external contributions to the world of entertainment. I don't think about rap like outside of Today Was a Good Day. I don't think about that shit. And then that one song that he came out with that sounded just like Tupac, and then Tupac called that shit out. I lost respect for Ice Cube because this nigga really tried to jot Tupac's style when Tupac was in jail. I didn't even remember what the damn name of the song was. I was like, yo, really? And I went and listened to the song. This thing was really trying to sound like Tupac. So after that, I was like, no. And then he became an actor and did a whole bunch of other stuff like Contract with Black America. So again, I don't think of hip hop when I think of Ice Cube. So he don't belong in the top 20. And neither does Dr. Dre. I mean, Dr. Dre is
Dr. Dre, yeah, I wouldn't.
He's not on there. No,
that's fair. All right. Here's what. Let me say this. All right, excluding the top 10, because I think I don't think you could put Soulja Boy in the top 20.
He has to be last. Because he's the last of his kind, so he has to cap that whole.
I don't think so.
That whole timeline of artists up until that point, because that top 20 you're talking about has to be chronological, and number 20 has to be Soulja Boy. It has.
I don't think so. No, I don't think so.
It has to be him. It has to be him.
If you're talking about greatest of all time, and I don't have to be chronological. I mean, in some sense, it could be.
But I'm telling you, it would make sense because there's no other artist that came after Soulja Boy that changed the fucking game other than him.
But here's my point. All right, let me say this. All right.
Other than Drake, because Drake came after him, so I would say Drake. Yeah, so Drake will come before Soulja Boy. But again, that has more so to do with like artistry and shit like that. And then even Drake can't say, "Oh, I wrote and produced my own fucking hit," and that ultimately changed the way that changed the music industry as we know it from a business perspective.
But even then, no, you could put Chris Brown
say he did that.
But you could put Justin Bieber, Chris Brown ahead of Soulja Boy. I mean,
first of all, just punk ass Justin Bieber ain't no motherfucking rapper, so Justin Bieber can go.
I fan up, but
Chris Brown is not a rapper. So Chris Brown, we're talking about pure rappers, not singers, not the people who really blend the genre because that shit don't count. I'm talking about niggas that grab a mic, stand there, and rap.
But Soulja Boy really wasn't a rapper when you think about like Ice Cube and Jay-Z. He wasn't a rapper. He was more of a I don't even know how to say it. He was one of those people. You want to put Soulja Boy in a rap concert. So you put him at like a party concert. So then
if that's the case, then you can't put Migos at a rap concert. You can't put Sheck West at a rap concert. You can't put Rissa Kid because if that's the case, they make all music sound just like Soulja Boy. Same flow that niggas used to hate about Soulja Boy. They do all that shit. The same fucking shit. I could literally play you Soulja Boy records, and then I'll play you a Migos record right after that. I'll be like, yo, bet you that shit sound the same. And I'll be use a goddamn lie if you tell me that shit don't sound the same.
But I mean, let's be real. Most music nowadays sound the same. But here's my point, though. Let me say this. Here's my point. Right? As much as I like Soulja Boy, as much as I like him, like you said, Soulja Boy, most people don't listen to Soulja Boy now. They listen to his old music. Soulja Boy, as much as people like him right now, people are going to forget about him. Why? Because let me say this, the new generation. No, but let me say this, the new generation, the 7-year-olds, the new generation coming up, they're going to have a Soulja Boy of their era. Right? They're going to have someone.
They have a Soulja Boy right now because Soulja Boy's coming out with Rick and Morty's and shit. That's the biggest thing on TikTok. And I bet you every single little kid with an iPhone that's on TikTok knows the Rick and Morty and knows how to do the dance. I don't have to like the song to be able to fucking say that shit because this shit is true. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to get a Tory Lanez and a Rissa Kid on a song on the goddamn remix. He wouldn't be able to get French Montana on his remix if these songs weren't actually fucking hot. So that's what I'm saying. We can't say that there's going to be another Soulja Boy because to be a Soulja Boy, you got to change the game. To be a Soulja Boy, you got to change the game. And not one person has done that since then. Because I bet you, and I said this before, if Soulja Boy was like, you know what, I'm not going to drop the DeAndre Way because that was the name of his third album. If he said, you know what, I know how the music industry, I see what the music industry is looking like right now. I'm not going to drop the DeAndre Way. Listen, I'm going to wait a couple of years. And let's say if he waited to drop another like mainstream project with Interscope when they started to count streams, this nigga people will want to give Soulja Boy more credit. You know why? Because then they would see the latest Soulja Boy project did, triple platinum in streams and blah, because that's what people want to fucking see. Because a lot of times when people talk about how great somebody is, niggas want to talk about numbers. Well, shit, Soulja Boy had all those numbers pretty much his whole career. And then even then, this nigga, when you say he fell off, he had a song with Drake. We made it. He might not have had like extensive verses and shit like that, but you can say, oh, there was a Soulja Boy, a Drake featuring Soulja Boy featuring Drake. In fact, nigga, that was his song first. And then Drake took his song and remixed it. So that has to mean that one of the greatest artists today was going to Soulja Boy and looking at what Soulja Boy was doing and saying, yo, I like this shit. Let me take this and use it for what the fuck I'm doing. Can Bow Wow say that? No. Nobody's going back to Bow Wow catalog, but they're watching Soulja Boy. Nicki Minaj, same thing. This nigga Soulja Boy was performing at Summer Jam with Nicki Minaj performing songs, shit like that. Where was Bow Wow? At home. You see what I'm saying? So Soulja Boy, even if he wasn't in the forefront anymore, that nigga was still there. Like Soulja Boy never went anywhere. Just because certain people weren't looking at him or weren't watching or didn't want to acknowledge that he was there, doesn't mean that nigga wasn't there. Because that nigga was there the whole entire time. And mind you, I'm saying this from an aspect of I wasn't listening to this nigga's music after a certain time period. Like Gucci Tattoo, Soulja Boy, I wasn't fucking with anymore. Like once he did that, I was like, nah, I'm just now. And his music was just a certain way. It wasn't like what it used to be. Like there wasn't no more You know what I'm saying? I don't want to say 2 minutes, but there wasn't no more work on decks and outer space flows and Young Boss music songs anymore. It wasn't like that. It was just different. It wasn't for me. So I said, yo, I'm going to check out. But I was still watching and he was still around. He was still around. It might have been like beefs and shit like that, but shit, still, you don't. I bet you if any of the artists that came out when Soulja Boy was out, if you ask them, like, yo, like, if you could be on Shade Room, would you be on Shade Room? I bet you them niggas would tell you, yeah. It doesn't matter what kind of capacity, because if you talk to Sammy, who was on Kiss Me Through the Phone, the fact that he was on Shade Room and the Shade Room posted one of his, like, little song freestyle shits or whatever, he said that revitalized his career. Soulja Boy been on Shade Room for this whole fucking time, really. You see what I'm saying? So that nigga's always been around. So technically, from by that standards, falling off is really when nobody even fucking knows you're alive. You know what I'm saying? Like no one, you're not there. You don't have songs with Drake. That's what Soulja Boy said to Bow. He was like, nigga, you don't have songs with Drake because Drake is one of, like, if not the biggest artist right now, other than Kanye. Because J. Cole and Kendrick, they only want to come out periodically. These are not even guys that, like, shit. Like, I don't know. Like, these aren't even, you know what I'm saying? But you got Drake, who's literally been out like all the time. Soulja Boy really got 2 songs with Drake. He don't got one. Soulja Boy got a song called Play Ball with Drake. If niggas who are around will know what song I'm talking about. Bow Wow don't got that.
But let me say this though. If you take away Bow Wow, I think Soulja Boy, as much as like I said, I like Soulja Boy, but he's not a person who has the career. I'm not talking about what he did, back then. If you take away what he did back then, because it's been, over a decade since then, people still hold that nostalgia about him because he's young. But when Soulja Boy is 40, nobody's going to give a damn about him because
people aren't going to give a damn about him because when they talk about streams and when they talk about the industry as we know it, they're going to bring this nigga. When they talk about technology, they talk about all this shit. They're going to bring this nigga because niggas want to laugh at the Soulja Boy game, right? But when that nigga was coming out, that nigga's been talking about having his own video game since fucking 2008, 2009. It's just now that he's finally starting to do it. Whether it's the right or wrong way to go about it, that's for another, completely different discussion. Bow Wow cannot say he's doing any of this shit. Like, and I'm using him not to shit on him, but it's just because he's a contemporary. I mean, these niggas did a versus. You're only really gonna do a versus with your contemporary. The contemporary of your time, like who people perceive as your parallel. You know what I'm saying? It's like Bobby Brown did one with Keith Sweat because they were contemporaries. I think it was like Earth, Wind, and Fire and then the Isley Brothers or, whoever. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's who he was. Because what we talked about before was who's going to be talked about. And like I said, Soulja Boy is somebody who will be talked about for reasons outside of the music. When you make such a huge monumental contribution, and people still talk about you anyway, what does that say about you? And what does that say about people who cannot be talked about, who aren't being talked about, who are not being remembered, unless a fucking GOAT goes to start talking about them and picks them up to give them a little bit of shine? Because that's what Soulja Boy did. He just grabbed Bow and said, yo, come up here. If I'm going to have this versus, I'm going to do it with you because they're legit friends. See what I'm saying?
But let me say this, though, right? That's what I'm saying. What Soulja Boy did, I'm not taking away from him, but there's always going to be somebody who can do much better. Why? Because technology is always improving. Now you have TikTok. Now you have Instagram. You have much more different platforms now, more different streaming platforms. So there's going to be an artist 10, 20 years from now who will do something that Soulja Boy does, but he does it at a global scale, and he's a bigger artist.
Soulja Boy did it at a global scale already. Soulja Boy did it. Soulja Boy been there, done that. That's why I said about Bobby Brown. Like, nigga, everything Chris Brown has done, Bobby Brown did that shit from fucking 1987 to motherfucking 1992, straight up. Like,
but that's what I'm saying though. But Chris Brown is much more. When you think, unless you're talking to a bunch of 60-year-olds, when people compare, if you ask most people who's better, Bobby Brown or Chris Brown, they're gonna say Chris Brown, just because he's that nigga of this particular time. So this is his time right now. That's what I said to you before. Like, of course they're gonna give him his credit right now, or they're gonna say he's better now because this is his time. This is his time to be that nigga, and his time has not passed yet because Chris Brown is one of those artists like Drake, where every release that he has, he stays with the time, but not necessarily staying in a box like some artists do, where like nigga, their second album sounds just like their first,
and they never update. Chris Brown is a guy that updates, just like Drake and Kanye and Kendrick and J. Cole and all these other artists. They continue to update. Soulja Boy does the same fucking thing, except the problem was, because this is what I will say about Soulja Boy. The only thing about Soulja Boy is that when he reinvented himself, and not every artist can do that, because the reason why we talk about him now is because he reinvented himself. Bow Wow has never been able to reinvent himself. He's still that same nigga that he was in 2004, 2000. He's got that same energy. But Soulja Boy is able to reinvent himself. The only thing is that he started making music that people just tune themselves out of, including myself, because I was like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and then that's that. But then what happened when he went back to his roots and got back to making music that everybody can listen to? Because he was making the music for a certain particular artist, like niggas who don't wear belts and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the types of niggas not wearing belts and tats and like to be out in the streets. The mainstream audiences were like, yo, like, this is not the nigga that we knew and we started liking, so we're not going to listen to you anymore. You know what I'm saying? So I will hold that to him. But look at him now. He got back to his roots. He started making the She Make It Claps, the Rick and Morty, the songs that everybody can get to, talked about and everything.
But that's my point, though. Soulja Boy, as much as we like him, he doesn't make music that nobody's gonna listen to Make It Clap or Ricky Morton next year, 2 years from now, because these are songs that's popping right now. There was an artist, I forgot who it was, a hip hop legend. He did an interview and he was talking about the problems with the music industry right now. And Soulja Boy fits in this, where you can either make a song that's popular for 3 months that blows up the strings, but it dies down. You don't get any more radio play. Nobody talks about it anymore. Or you could be like a Jay-Z or Drake, where you may not get that big boost right off the bat, but it steadies, and then you can always make that income all year. So it depends on what type of artist you want to be. I don't think Soulja Boy, as much as I like him, he has the career that will sustain him. Why? Because Soulja Boy, 32? He's not going to be able to keep making
like 31 or some shit like that.
So somewhere around there. He's not going to be. His time is coming up real soon. He's not going to be able to make another Make It Clap. People aren't going to take it seriously. Why? Because nobody wants to listen to a 39-year-old still trying to live off his old crank that.
See,
vibe,
but
you know what I'm saying?
But I said the same thing about Chris Brown, because I said, nigga, like, the majority of Chris Brown's catalog, are people going to fucking listen to that shit from fucking 20 fucking years from now? People are going to listen to that Slime and B album with him and Young fucking Thug? No. And then what's funny, nigga, Young Thug almost got signed by Soulja Boy. Young Thug wanted to be signed by Soulja Boy. Like, these are, like, every fucking body almost came from this nigga. This nigga could have been Lil Wayne if he was willing to, like, literally develop these niggas that came through him. He would literally be Lil Wayne level right now. Because why is Lil Wayne right now? Because not only did he make his contribution to rap, but then he was responsible for the prominent figures that we know in hip hop right now, which is Tyga, Nicki Minaj, and fucking Drake. The nigga doesn't need to do anything anymore. You see what I'm saying? But to my point, people are not going to listen to the majority of fucking Chris Brown's music. I told you the other day, his shit is on people. What people are going to go backtrack to listen to is up until 2011, which was his Fame fucking album. That was the last project that actually sounded like a Chris Brown album. Maybe X, kind of, X2. And so maybe Fine China is like the only song that people probably listen to off that album. But after that, no. That nigga, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, just straight up, that's just what it is. So if we want to talk about somebody who fell off in 2011, you can say the same shit about Chris Brown, really, because that to me was the last concise Chris Brown project that, I heard, which I wouldn't skip no songs. Fame, I could listen to that shit from start to finish. So if you want to say Soulja Boy fell off in 2011, nigga, so did Chris Brown. And then in 2011, nigga, Soulja Boy had the Juice mixtape, which everybody was listening to Zen with that lean. If you know what that fucking song is called, nigga, that was a street record that everybody was fucking listening. Even niggas in New York was like, yo, Zen with that lean and shit like that. Needless to say about the cities, the down south cities where that shit is actually turned at. So technically, he didn't even really fucking fall off in 2011 if you really want to be fucking technical. So nobody's gonna and remember, you agreed to shit the other day. I said, nigga, nobody's listening to Run It, the debut song that fucking Chris Brown came. No one fucking listens to that song now. I can't even listen to that shit now. I will listen to Exclusive and fucking Fame. Those are the only two albums, and even Exclusive, there's some songs on there that I don't fucking know. But Fame, those two albums, straight up.
But that's what I'm saying.
No one's listening to.
But that's my point, though. As Soulja Boy, it depends. Like I said, he's one of those artists. He would never be able to drop an album. Besides the first two, nobody's going to listen to another album of Soulja Boy's. He might make a song, maybe 1, 2, or 3 that's popping, but he won't have an album like Donda, where people want to tune in and listen to
let me ask you a question.
Drake album.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
What? And this is something that I've seen for a very long time, right? Oh, I'm gonna ask you 2 questions, and both of them are kind of sort of rhetorical. What's so great about Donda, bro? I'm
not even gonna lie, I didn't listen to it.
So you didn't even listen to the shit, but yet wait. So you automatically perceive the greatness of an album that you've never even heard. And that's exactly.
But I will be listening to it though.
That's exactly why I said that question was rhetorical, because you just are automatically going to assume Donda is like this great ass album because of how you perceive Kanye West and the light that you look at him in. And I don't blame you, because Kanye West is a great artist. I listened to Donda. There's a lot of songs that I skipped, and maybe I can only say that I would only cherry pick 2 or 3 songs off of that whole entire fucking album. You see what I'm saying? So that just proves my point. You didn't even listen to that shit, and then yet you're like, Soulja Boy would never make an album as good or better than Donda, and you ain't even heard the shit yet. So let me clarify though. So that means damned if he does, damned if he don't, because you're just gonna automatically assume that the greater artists are always gonna be greater than him, and you haven't even heard their music. So you already have an unconscious bias towards Kanye West and Soulja Boy.
No, hold on. But you let me clarify though.
I'm gonna ask you a question. Now we both know that Kanye West reached out to Soulja Boy and asked Soulja Boy for a verse, right?
Right.
Now, being that you assume that Donda, is a great album, which, like I said, it's not a bad album. I'm just picky with music anyway, so I wouldn't really be the right person to ask, because I have my own particular taste. What does that say about Soulja Boy if, let's say, Kanye West were to include Soulja Boy's verse on that particular song on Donda, or he were to put him on the deluxe version? Now, I'm going to throw this in there before you respond. Kanye West also didn't use a Chris Brown verse, and Chris Brown was also mad. But answer my initial question. How differently would you feel about Soulja Boy knowing that Kanye West wanted a Soulja Boy verse on one of his songs on Donda?
I would say...
What does that say about Soulja Boy?
I don't think it says anything, really, to be honest with you.
How can that not say anything if you already think that an album that you never heard is going to be greater than every single song or album that Soulja Boy attempts to put out? So if you perceive, because we can both say that Kanye West is one of the greatest artists of this generation, right or wrong? Yes or no?
I would say of all time, but yeah.
So if the greatest artist of all time, in your opinion, wants a Soulja Boy verse on one of his songs, and he didn't call Bow Wow, he didn't call any of these other, he didn't call T-Pain, and he's got songs with T-Pain already, but he asked Soulja Boy. He said,
he didn't use it.
He said, Soulja Boy, I want one of your fucking verses.
But he didn't use it though.
He didn't use Chris Brown. Does that mean anything less about Chris Brown? That's besides the point.
No, but
I'm asking you, what does that say about Soulja fucking Boy? And be honest, bro. Don't be biased.
I'm not being biased, but let me clarify something. I didn't listen to that album just because I didn't have time.
No. Just answer the question.
I don't think it means anything. Why? Because he might, even though he asked Soulja Boy to do it, he also asked 15 other artists to be on his album, to do a feature on his album. So I don't think him having Soulja Boy, and let's be real here, if Soulja Boy didn't have that resurgence from the Breakfast Club interview, nobody would be hitting him up for a verse, let alone
bullshit, because Drake had a song with Soulja Boy freaking 6 whole years before the Breakfast Club even happened, 5-6 years.
But 2011 though, but that's what I'm saying.
That wasn't 2011. We Made It came out in 2015, 2016.
What's the name of the song?
We Made It. Nigga, we made it. Yeah, that shit came out in fucking 2015, 2016.
So what song?
Because you don't want to, it seems like you don't want to answer the question. What I'm asking you, what does that say about Soulja Boy? That the greatest artist of all time reached down to grab. He could have grabbed any fucking body. You know how many rap artists are out there? He could have got any fucking body. That nigga could have called Tory Lanez, but he decided to call Soulja Boy. So let's say, okay, I'll even make it a little bit more.
I mean,
I'm gonna make it a little bit more simple for you. Let's say if Michael Jordan, you're an NBA player, right? And Michael Jordan was assembling a team to go against a foreign country's league, and then he had to pick NBA players for his team. And then he got Zion Williamson, he got John Morant, he got Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and that nigga calls you. What does that say about you as a player?
Well, first, hold on. Let me explain that.
Bro. Answer the question, because you know I'm right. Answer the question.
I don't think so.
What does that say about you? If the greatest NBA player, literally the greatest NBA player, who not only the greatest ever to play the game. So not only was he the greatest ever to play the game, he freaking changed. He's the reason why NBA players make more money than the niggas that run the NBA right now. What does that say about you as a basketball player, you as an athlete? What does that say about you that the god of basketball reached down to grab you to play for his team? Even if you sat on the bench and you didn't get to play, but what if he was like, yo, I want you to be there? What does that fucking say about you?
That's a good thing, but you gotta give me time to respond though. You have to give me time to respond. Why? First of all, you can't use that comparison. Why? Because you see artists. No, because you see artists having features with different artists all the time. That doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying?
It does. Yes, it does.
No. So let me ask you. If I ask Jeremy Lin to play on my basketball team, does that mean he's just as good as LeBron?
It depends on who. If you're the god of fucking basketball, then yeah, that means yo. Because that's like if Michael Jackson is alive and Michael Jackson calls me like, Dimitri, you know, I want your vocals on my album. You know, can you come by, nigga? Why do you think that when people get phone calls from Prince or Michael Jackson? Because that says a lot about how that person views their talent, that they thought enough of them to say, you know what, send me a verse. Even if I don't use it, I want you to be a part of this fucking process. Because you're not going to answer the question, I'm going to answer the shit. That says a lot about this nigga Soulja Boy, that the fact that Kanye West, even if this nigga didn't use it, that is still the equivalent of Michael Jordan asking me to come play for his team. Even if I'm just going to be warming the bench, that nigga still wanted me there. Out of how many, you know, people are in the NBA that could have been available to play my fucking position, that nigga called me. And I don't know about you, but if Michael Jordan calls me to fucking play for his team, even if I don't fucking play basketball, that says a lot about me. And I'm allowed to toot my own horn. If Michael fucking Jordan were to call me and say, Dimitri, yeah, you know, I got this game, and I want you to come play, you know, 2-guard or shooting guard, whatever the fuck. That says a lot about me, and that says a lot about Soulja Boy. The fact that he wanted this nigga on Donda. And you know why? What further proves my point? Because you didn't even hear that fucking album, and then you already perceive that album as great. Which, you know, like I said, beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. But because you already hold Kanye West in that esteem without even having heard the album, that just goes to show that this nigga Soulja Boy almost made it on that project. So that just further proves my point. That not only do these people give him credit, but these people still watch this nigga and still want his shit on their fucking album. Period.
I gotta break this down though, because first let me say this. I only brought up Donda because Kanye West, Drake, because they both released the album. Mm-hmm. They are just on an upper echelon when it comes to music. You know what I'm saying? So don't get me wrong. I didn't listen to the album yet. That don't mean I won't listen to it. I'm just a little behind on it. Now, let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Let's say, you know, you in the acting school, right? And they'll say, hey, I want you to do, 5 lines in this movie, and then they cut you out the movie. Does that mean you're just as good as Denzel Washington as an actor?
So you said if Denzel Washington calls me to do 5 lines in the movie and they cut the scene, does that mean I'm on Denzel's level?
Right.
That does not mean I'm on Denzel's level, but it means a lot that he could have gotten Michael B. Jordan. He could have gotten Woody McClain, all these young nigga actors that exist today. And out of all of these niggas, he thought of me to say, yo, I want you in my pick. That says a lot about me as a fucking actor, because he could have gotten anybody, but that nigga called me. He called me. So that validates me as an actor, because Denzel Washington is one of the GOATs of acting. You see what I'm saying? Because that okay. So if me and you audition for a role and fucking if me, you, and 5 other people audition for a role in a Denzel Washington movie, the man is writing and producing the whole entire movie, and that nigga picks my audition out of all you niggas, that says a lot about me as a fucking actor, because the nigga picked me. That validates my skills. That validates my greatness. Even if they cut my fucking scene, that nigga still picked me to do the shit. He saw something in me enough for me to be in conversation for whatever it is that project was going to be. So again, that
for that project though. But that's what I'm saying. But
he still called this nigga. He still called
that. That doesn't mean anything though.
Don't you think that Bow Wow wished Kanye West would call this nigga just to get a verse? Because if you look at what Soulja Boy, because Soulja Boy released a text, he was like, yo, that means a lot coming from you. Why? Because anybody with a brain knows that Kanye West is one of the GOATs. There's not too many rappers out here of his kind left. Because to me, it's like I said before, you could take Kanye and stash Kanye in the mid 80s and that nigga would fit in. You could stash this nigga in the 90s and he would fit in with A Tribe Called the nigga came from the 90s. Not every artist can do that shit. So if a nigga like that is calling me like, yo, D, I want a verse, you know what I'm saying? Nigga, like, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna write this fucking verse. And then from what I heard, Soulja Boy's verse wasn't that fucking bad, because guess what? It's Future probably could have wrote that same shit. All these fucking artists would probably do the same fucking shit. But Soulja Boy fucking did this shit. And then I bet you he was probably gonna put him on some other version of the album, you know what I'm saying? At some point, it's just Soulja Boy fucking jumped the gun. But guess what? Chris Brown, he called Chris Brown. He could have called Ty Dolla $ign. He could have called Party Next Door. He could have called Jacquees. He could have called Brent Faiyaz. He could have called Bryson Till. He could have called any fucking body. But he got a verse from Chris fucking Brown.
So can I ask you a question?
And why do you think they got offended? Because yo, like, I wanted to be on one of the greatest artists of all time. That doesn't mean Playboi Carti is better than fucking Chris Brown, because Playboi, fucking Carti is on the goddamn album. Is Playboi Carti better than Chris Brown? No. It's just that his verse probably was more suitable for the track that he ended up on. And then maybe, you know what I'm saying, Chris and Soulja Boy, they probably just couldn't fit. I mean, I don't even think that it was anything personal against them. It's just, yo, it's his album. It's his song. He has his own creative processes and shit like that. He had to make certain choices and he cut them out. Maybe it'll be, used for a fucking future project. But again, that says a lot about those two as artists, that a nigga like Kanye West wanted a fucking verse from Soulja Boy. Same thing with fucking Drake. Drake was listening to Soulja Boy during a time when you said Soulja Boy fell off. Soulja Boy was still listening to this nigga and was like, yo, I like this nigga's song. I'm gonna put this shit on a mixtape, or I'm just gonna come out with this shit. And came out with We Made It. Soulja Boy was all over that fucking song. All over that fucking song. What does that say about Soulja Boy? That two of the greatest artists of this era are still watching him and calling him. Niggas is not calling Bow Wow. Niggas is not calling T-Pain. Why? Because these niggas are hallmark artists. They are vintage artists. These niggas are concession stand artists at fucking concerts and shit like that. They are the equivalent to I Love New York t-shirts. Those shits are always going to be worn, but they're only good for the past or for a certain fucking era. Soulja Boy is not in that fucking category. I don't care what you say, because there's literally no rebuttals to that. I just literally
I can rebuttal that.
You proved my point. I didn't even
you
proved my own point.
Let me ask you a question. All right. When Ice JJ Fish was popping for a couple years, right?
Are you really bringing up Ice JJ Fish, bro? Are you really bringing this?
Yeah, but really? You got. Let me. If
I didn't even want to talk about the New Boys, which Ben J had like a nice mixtape in 2011 that I used to listen to called like Chill Talk or some shit like that. If I didn't even want to discuss these two idiots, why would I make a comparison between an artist like Soulja Boy, which need I say more, and a freaking said light-skinned Neanderthal, freaking Ice JJ Fish? Like, I don't even know what this nigga looks like right now. Are you really
But it's a question though. I got a question though.
At what point?
But I got a question.
That because he had a hot song, like this nigga song wasn't even hot. I don't even know what the song is. I don't know what lyric it is. I think this shit is this nigga Ice JJ Fish is just a meme. He's just a meme that only resided on social media. This nigga never had any concerts. People never paid to see him. This nigga's not rich. He's probably working. He's probably got a 9 to 5, and he had 15 minutes of fame. You cannot, not even 15 minutes of fame. This nigga had a minute of fame, a minute and 30 seconds of fame. You cannot compare that shit.
But you gotta let me ask the question though.
All right, but I'm just gonna say this because I'm prefacing that. You can. I'm prefacing my answer pretty much. You cannot compare this dude to an artist who, again, is still being called by two of the greatest artists of our time right now.
But but here's my question though, right? When IJJ Fish was popping, everybody wanted to, see his latest video. People was paying him for. But when he was popular, everybody wanted to listen to him.
Who was everybody though? Like who? What demographic are we talking about? Because niggas was not listening to no Ice JJ Fish in Germany. Niggas was not listening to no Ice JJ Fish in fucking Japan.
But overseas, here's my question though.
Okay.
At the top of his popularity, when people were talking about him, when he had buzz, and let's say Drake was like, "Hey, yo, I want you to spit a couple bars in the song." Does that mean just because he got a feature in the Drake song that he's automatically just a good rapper, or are they just using him because he's popular and everybody's talking about him?
There's again.
That's Soulja Boy. That's Soulja Boy.
No.
That's Soulja Boy.
That is not Soulja Boy, and that is exactly why I felt. My senses told me that that's where you were gonna go with that shit, and that's exactly why I had to preface my answer. You know what I'm saying? Before you even asked the question, because I knew you were going to go there. There is no comparison to be made by that shit. Because if the same, a nigga that's in that same category, you can compare that nigga to the nigga who said, "Why the fuck you lying?" You can compare him to him because these are niggas who just had like internet memes and little videos that were just popping for black people. Okay, they're in no universe, not even in the Marvel What If universe, is Drake ever gonna call Ice JJ Fish to get a motherfucking feature from? There's no freaking universe that Drake will get a fucking verse or ask for a verse from no motherfucking Ice JJ Fish. That shit will never happen. That is a horrible comparison. And like I said, that's blasphemous.
It's not. Why? Because let's be real here.
I'm really feeling like Stephen A. Because that's straight up blasphemy. And I really don't even. I'm mad that I even had to acknowledge that goddamn question. Because again, what you're trying to say about Soulja Boy is you're trying to relegate him as an artist to a nigga that has had his 15 minutes of fame. You can't even compare Ice JJ Fish to Bow Wow because Ice JJ Fish and internet motherfuckers like him that only existed on Vine, really, because outside of Vine, nobody fucking cared about no goddamn, outside of Vine and Worldstar, no one cared about Ice JJ Fish. Ice JJ Fish is like an insect, a micro piece of bacteria, literal light-skinned bacteria compared to Bow Wow. So like I said, that freaking, comparison that you try to make is absurd because I see where you're trying to go and it's disrespectful. You can't say that about Soulja Boy. That is blasphemous. That's some shit that nigga Max Kellerman would say on motherfucking First Take. You really got me feeling like Stephen A. Smith on this shit. I'm not going to acknowledge that question. That freaking shit was not a good question. It was trash. I'm just gonna be honest, you my boy and everything, but that was trash.
But you got comparison. Hold on, but you got to let me explain why I made that comparison. No, I didn't. Hold on, let me explain why I said that. Right? Let's be real here. If it wasn't for the Breakfast Club interview, right? Do you think anybody would be calling Soulja Boy in 2024 feature if he didn't find a way to resurge himself? He didn't in any capacity.
Well, technically, he didn't resurge himself in 2014, and Nicki Minaj had him on that Yes Bitch Yes song, having this nigga come to Summer Jam to perform with her. If that was the case, then there would be no. If that was the case, there would be no nigga we made. I just told you. So if you're saying that this nigga wouldn't be around prior to the Breakfast Club, well, the nigga was around way before that shit. Because again, Chief Keef was like the hottest thing at that time with that I Don't Like song, if you know what song I'm talking about. That nigga was at Soulja Boy's house when all of that shit was fucking going on. Go on YouTube. This nigga's got mad songs with the Migos before these niggas even came on. So this nigga was responsible for the freaking up and coming artists freaking being out and shit like that. So he was still there. I said that shit like 20 minutes ago. Just because you didn't see him doesn't mean that he wasn't there. I'm telling you, this nigga was there the whole entire time. And again, the biggest artist right now who just came out with fucking Certified Lover Boy, when that nigga was non-existent, like you said, nigga fell off. The biggest artist went to his mixtape, was like, yo, I want to see what this nigga Soulja Boy is fucking doing. Got his song, and fucking remix of Soulja Boy was all over the song. Had the fucking intro and the motherfucking outro and the motherfucking chorus. You heard this nigga the whole entire time. So what does that say about Soulja Boy? You have not yet provided me with a valid.
Because here's the thing.
It just sounds like, again, because it just sounds like you're biased.
No, but you got to let me explain. Here's my thing. Just because people, no. here's my thing. Just because somebody hits you up to do a feature once in a while doesn't mean anything about you.
It does, because when yes, it does, because when that same artist can get anybody else to do what you do, if that person is as minuscule as you're saying, then why didn't that person just go and get somebody else? It's because they acknowledge greatness. Greatness can only acknowledge.
That's not true, though.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Because I just told you, if Michael Jordan got you to be on his basketball team out of every fucking body in the NBA, there's a reason why they don't get. There's a reason why not every single fucking NBA player can get in the All-Star game. You have to be of a certain quality to get in the fucking All-Star. You have to put up certain fucking numbers. You can't get on a fucking Kanye West album. You can't get on a Drake fucking song if you don't have certain fucking criteria. Right. There are certain artists of this time that can get on this shit. Well, I already told you, it's because they just fit the record more than Chris Brown did. That doesn't mean anything less about fucking Chris Brown. And those niggas, Playboy Cardi might get on there because it's his fucking time. This is his era right now. You know what I'm saying? But I bet you if Trinidad James, if fucking Hurricane Chris, if fucking Bow Wow and all these other niggas from that same fucking era could even be in those conversations, they would, but they can't.
Because they didn't have the style. They didn't have the style as
Soulja Boy was. So not only did I already debunk the whole Breakfast Club, thing that you're trying to allude to, because that's all cap, and I just told you why. And then I already told you exactly why Soulja Boy wasn't on there and what that means about Soulja Boy by him even getting a text message from Kanye to pull up on him to get the motherfucking verse. So Kanye was like, Kanye told him, come to Atlanta, nigga. He could have called anybody else. If I'm the GOAT, I could get anybody. And then I get you, that says a lot about you, because I'm the fucking GOAT. I'm the fucking GOAT. And then that means I'm validating your greatness that I already recognize within you. So nobody can ever tell you that you're not great because I fucking pulled you up. If LeBron James is a fucking GOAT, if LeBron James wants to play with me, there's something about me that a fucking GOAT of this era wants to play with me. Facts. But LeBron James didn't just get Anthony Davis on the Lakers because Anthony Davis is just, he was just anybody. No. Because he was watching Anthony Davis play for New Orleans and was like, play for the fucking Pelicans. Was like, this nigga is great. I want him here in LA with me. Facts. Same shit with Kawhi and fucking Paul George. Kawhi was already in Toronto. Was like, I know I'm going to LA, but I'm only going to play for the Clippers if I can get Paul George. You know why? Because he recognized greatness within Paul George, because Kawhi Leonard was great himself, getting a whole fucking championship by himself. The same shit applies to fucking hip hop.
No, it don't.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Let me break this down.
And you have not provided me with a valid rebuttal
because here's the thing: asking somebody for a feature for one song on a 23 song album doesn't mean anything. If it was an 8-song album, would it have made a difference? No, it would not. No, because it does. That's what I'm saying. Asking Soulja Boy for a feature in a song just because they wanted him for that specific verse doesn't mean anything. It doesn't make. Yes, no, it don't. So are you trying to belittle Chris Brown's greatness too? So does that mean that Chris Brown is not a great artist because the greatest rapper right now, other than Drake, wanted his fucking verse? So does that mean that he could? It doesn't mean because I bet you, if I call Kanye West right now, if I had access to Kanye West right now, I would have been like, do you think Soulja Boy is great? I bet you that nigga would tell you, yeah. Would you? I would ask him, would you get an artist that you don't feel? Would you get an artist that you feel like anybody could do their verse? Would you still get that artist shit on there? They'll probably tell you no, if that's how they really fucking felt, but that's not how Kanye felt. And I'm pretty sure somebody as creative as Kanye, because nigga, I'm a creative nigga. I know what goes into that shit. If I'm creating a song and I'm like, I want this nigga on there, it means something. It's not as superficial as you think it is, because making music is an intimate process. Like you a creative nigga. Creative niggas know what it is. You don't just say, I'm just going to get this nigga on there and then it doesn't fucking mean anything. Because I'm pretty sure if you were to ask Kanye West himself right now, if this nigga was listening, that nigga would be nodding his head right now like, that nigga ain't lying. It does mean something for you to get somebody on your, get a verse on your fucking record. And 9 times out of 10, if it doesn't, then it's probably not a good song. But according to you, that album is so great without you having listening to that shit. So again, that proves my point. You are proving all my points. No, I didn't say literally proving all my points. But I never said the album was great. I said people was looking forward to listening to these albums because these are legendary rappers. Now, I will say this. Just because Denzel asks you to do a 5-line spot in the movie don't mean you're a Michael B. Jordan all of a sudden. Doesn't mean you're going to be this big time Tom Holland actor. That's what I'm saying. Yes, I like Soulja Boy. No. It does not mean I'm going to be this person. I'm going to be that person. It means Denzel Washington sees me
for what the fuck I am. Meaning, he's seen my audition or he's seen my previous work and said, yo, I want this person involved in my creative process. That shit, movies just don't happen on the fly. A casting director will tell you, yo, if I cast somebody in this role, it means something. It means something. That means this person's performance spoke something to me as far as what my vision was for that particular character. So if the GOAT of actors is telling me he wants me in his shit, that says a lot about me. Facts.
I don't think so. Why?
Smith,
because
right. Will Smith and Jabari Banks, dude who got the Fresh Prince role. That doesn't mean he's going to automatically be Tom Holland. That doesn't mean da-da-da. That means a GOAT. Will Smith is one of the fucking GOATs of acting ever.
No doubt. No doubt.
Right. So that means Will Smith saw something in him and was like, yo, I see greatness within this kid. I'm going to take a chance on him. I want him to be a part of my process. That's exactly why because I tagged you in this shit. That's why I said, you know what? I can't even hate on that. Because greatness recognizes greatness. Niggas who are great don't hate on other great niggas. Because the niggas that feel like they got to hate on the next man's greatness is not great themselves. You see what I'm saying? So again, it does say a lot about somebody's talent if they are selected to be a part of a great person's project. This is facts. I think because you might not like Soulja Boy as many times as you have reiterated. You don't like him. I mean, let's.
I do like him. I do like him.
I mean, let's just be real, because it's been a lot of malarkey been spat my way when you can honestly just say, you know what, I don't like Soulja Boy. You know what I'm saying, but you don't like the guy.
No, I disagree with that.
I'm pretty sure if it was anybody else in the scenario, you would have been like, oh, yeah. But because it's Soulja Boy, it's just something about this guy that makes him that you can liken him to Ice JJ Fish, which to me is just a big tub of bullshit. Because this is what it is.
But this is why I say this. This is why I was saying it doesn't mean anything. Don't get me wrong, it does mean something. But let me.
So now it means something. You just
no.
You just spent the last 15
minutes. You gotta let me finish though. You gotta let me finish. All right. For instance, I'm not saying it don't mean anything, but let's be real here. Do you think if Will Smith said, "Hey, Dimitri, I want you to play the grocery clerk in this one scene," does that mean you might be good for that scene? Now you're trying to belittle. You're trying to belittle it. That's not a fucking grocery clerk. He didn't ask Soulja Boy for a grocery clerk. He asked him for a feature, a verse,
a verse.
In a song,
a starring role
of an album.
So if Will Smith calls to ask me to be a starring role in his movie, hell yeah, that means something about me as a fucking.
But a feature isn't a starring role, though. That's what I'm saying.
And I wouldn't be in the conversation. So that wasn't if he was like, if he said Soulja Boy, send me a drop, like a drop is like an intro to the song and shit like that. If he only asked Kanye West to say Soulja Boy, tell him in the beginning of the song, then yeah, you could just brush it off and be dismissive the way that you are. But because this nigga Soulja Boy had a whole verse, this nigga Chris Brown had a whole fucking verse with ad libs to the goddamn song. That's not no grocery clerk, and so that it doesn't fit the description. But that's what I'm saying. But
that's what I'm saying. Just because Kanye asked him to do a verse and a song doesn't mean that all of a sudden he respects him as one of the greats of all time. You know what I'm saying? Jay-Z, have had plenty of artists featuring in his songs.
If that was the case, then why was Kanye the main big artist other than 50 Cent to defend Soulja Boy when Ice-T said Soulja Boy killed hip hop? Kanye West was the first one, the first fucking artist, if not the only artist to come out and legit defend this nigga. And I got fucking receipts. And if you don't believe me, I will pull up that article right.
I've seen it. I've seen it. But don't get me wrong. That's what I'm saying.
I truly don't think you have. What year was that?
That was about 2014, around there.
That's cap. See, that happened in 2008. So you didn't even got the receipt. Ice-T dissed Soulja Boy in 2008, and Soulja Boy had his response. And then
you said Ice-T.
No. That whole debacle went on from June, because that was Soulja Boy's response, to practically the whole summer into the rest of the year, where they were asking about this shit.
Wait, hold on. But you're talking about his prime though. 2008 was when he was prime. That don't even count.
Wait, 2008 was when he was what?
When Ice-T dissed him, that was when Soulja Boy was in his prime. So of course they going to defend him.
No, but why? First of all, why would? But this is what I'm saying. Why would Kanye West feel the need to defend somebody when no one else is doing? When he could easily stay mum on the situation. You want to know why? Because he recognized greatness very early on. Because at that point, Soulja Boy really was the most hated rapper, pretty much his whole prime. No one, like none of the big artists that you can think of ever wanted to acknowledge that nigga, and none of these niggas wanted to like him except for 50 Cent and Kanye West, the bigger artists, the biggest artists. Every fucking body else was like, oh yeah, nah, yo, I don't like this nigga. His music is trash. He's not real hip hop. Oh, you know, he makes ringtone rap and all sorts of types of shit. But the nigga that we're both talking about, so from 2000 and really because they performed together on MTV, so from 2007 to goddamn right now, still maintained a relationship with this nigga since then. Since then. What the fuck does that say about Soulja Boy? Come on, yo. Admit it. Concede. Admit
I like so, but that's what I'm saying.
No. I'm not asking you to like him. I'm asking you to give the man his prop and admit that Soulja Boy is a GOAT.
I have given him his props. I've said it throughout. I like Soulja Boy. I appreciate what he's done.
No, you didn't.
But he's
No, you don't.
No.
You brought up Ice JJ Fist. You literally brought up Ice JJ Fist. I'm asking you to acknowledge Soulja Boy as a GOAT of hip hop.
He is not a GOAT. Let me ask you a question. He's not a GOAT.
You cannot say that you appreciate what he done, that you like the guy, if you literally refuse to acknowledge greatness. That's like literally saying that, oh, black artists would have been on MTV without Michael Jackson. That's a fucking lie. That's a fucking lie. Like the music industry would not be where it is today without Michael Jackson. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says because this shit.
Oh, of course.
Again, the same shit. If Soulja Boy was not releasing his music free all the time, if Soulja Boy was not freaking prioritizing streams over actual album sales and shit like that, nigga, the industry would not be where it is right now. Niggas would be flopping. Shit, the industry would be empty if niggas had to rely on album sales. They looked at Soulja Boy like, all right, so what is it about this guy that's making shit work the way that it is? And then they looked at the shit and then they copied his business model and then didn't give the nigga credit for the shit. And then he said nothing about it for a long time because anybody that really knows Soulja Boy knows that he's a fucking fan of music. So he wasn't really tripping until it's like he probably woke up one day and was like, yo, these niggas really gonna flex and act like I'm not who I am. And I'm seeing these niggas acting like me, making music just like me, and then profiting off this shit. And then yet I'm sitting here, I'm not gonna do this shit. So hell yeah, if I was this nigga, I would go on Instagram Live and fucking yell. And then it turns out a lot more people were watching him than people fucking realize. You know why? Because people never stopped watching him. And I will say this, Soulja Boy is responsible for him not being in that, allowing people like you to relegate him to that fucking category, because he should have stayed on that My Way of Life tip. That nigga should have stayed on that The Best, that 2 milli tip. And niggas who might be listening to this shit know what the fuck I'm talking about. They know the type of music that outer space flow. Niggas know what the fuck I'm talking about. Summer 2009 was peak fucking Soulja Boy. That was when his third album was supposed to fucking drop. That's when his third album was supposed to drop. That whole style pre-Lil B was the prime Soulja Boy. If this nigga was still on that same shit right now, there would be no room for Migos. There would be no room for a lot of these young niggas right now because he all by himself would have filled that fucking void. So I will blame him for that. You know what I'm saying? But even still taking the path that he went on, and this music that I'm talking about, you obviously don't know this shit, because if you heard it, you would understand what I'm talking about. Even at the fact that he took an alternate route, that nigga is still talked about today. So even when he took the harder route and just wanted to, because I'll tell you, he must have had the same mindset as Prince, where Prince was like, yo, yeah, Purple Rain was what put me on, but I'm no longer in that space anymore. So I don't want to make music like that anymore. Shit. Soulja Boy did an interview with DJ Vlad, and he was like, yo, I didn't like going out of my way trying to be a good rapper. He was like, yo, I just wanted to make the music that I fucking wanted to make. And I got to respect it. I got to respect, because as his former fan, I was like, yo, I don't like this fucking music. And I stopped listening to this shit. And then I just started listening to mad fucking R&B. You know what I'm saying? Like after I stopped listening to this, because he was my favorite rapper. After I stopped listening to this nigga, I started fucking listening to R&B. And then I just would just periodically see what he was up to, you know, here and there. And that was pretty much it. You see what I'm saying? And then he's still here. He's still fucking here. And every artist right now, I would say every artist that came out back when he came out, and all Hurricane Chris and all them niggas that tried to, you know, make them copycat dance songs and shit like that. If these niggas could switch places with this man, they would, but they can't. Not everybody can do what the fuck Soulja Boy does. You know who can do what he does? A fucking GOAT, period.
No, here's what I say. Here's what I say.
You don't have a Valerie Bell to this shit. So
I do. I'll break it down.
What is it?
I'll break it down. Here's when I think about a GOAT. A GOAT is someone who could stand the test of time.
He did already.
No, he didn't. He's still young. That's why. But when he's in his 40,
30 is not 30. Young
30 is still young.
30 young is relative. Young, if we want to talk about young is relative. You see what I'm saying? He's not a young nigga anymore. He might have that same energy because Chris Brown is fucking older than Soulja Boy by like a couple of years, and then he still runs around like young nigga. You wouldn't know that he's old unless he told you how fucking old he was, because 30 again is young compared to a 40-year-old, a fucking 50-year-old. But when you're 18, 19 years old, that you're not a young nigga anymore. And there, who's the young 18? Who's the next Soulja Boy right now? There is none. There is none.
But in 10 years there will be.
Still here because this nigga's still here. If he wasn't here right now, if he passed away, if he died, then you could say, oh, there's going to be a next Soulja Boy. And I don't even like doing the whole next thing because Soulja Boy is just the first Soulja Boy. Chris Brown is the first Chris Brown. You know what I'm saying? Drake is the one and only Drake. Kanye West is the one. There's never going to be another one of these niggas. There's never going to be another fucking Soulja Boy. Shout out to Miami Mike. If there is going to be another fucking Soulja Boy, it's got to be a nigga that's going to be better than him. You know what I'm saying? And shit. I ain't never seen it. If we're talking about an artist of this fucking caliber, like in that fucking lane, there has not been any because he still filled that fucking void. And when he had that chance to transcend that shit, he didn't do it. And then he's still talked about right now. That nigga's still fucking relevant right now.
All right, but niggas
are going to talk about Soulja Boy next year. Niggas are going to talk about him the following year. Niggas are going to talk about him in 2030. And
no, they're not. No, they're not.
Yeah,
no, he's not.
Want to know
when
why?
He's 40 years old. No,
the industry. The niggas are not going to be talking about music when they talk about Soulja Boy. That is my point. Because when you think I'm talking about music, I'm not talking about music. I'm talking about what you're going to be remembered for. And yeah, Drake will be remembered for his music. Soulja Boy is going to be remembered for changing the music industry. And that's some shit that not every artist can fucking say. Not every artist can say. That nigga's a fucking pioneer. He's a fucking pioneer. And again, a lot of the people that changed the game and did a lot of pioneer and revolutionary shit, like, nigga, look at the revolutionaries in fucking history. Do people give Malcolm X his fucking credit? No. They give that shit to other fucking people instead. And then they want to act like Malcolm X doesn't fucking exist. Because if we want to talk about pro-black shit, Malcolm X is a GOAT who made certain contributions to black people in history, but yet he don't have a fucking a national holiday. Why don't we have a Malcolm X Day in February? We don't. Malcolm X only has his holiday in Chicago, where he's from, or wherever he's from. You see what I'm saying? If I'm not mistaken, it is in fucking Chicago. So that proves my point. You could be somebody that's a revolutionary of your time, and you won't get your flowers because, again, flowers are relative. In my opinion, Malcolm X don't get the same flowers that Martin Luther King did. Martin Luther King get all the fucking flowers. When people think about the civil rights movement and black people and segregation and all this other type of shit, they think of Martin Luther King. They don't think of fucking Malcolm X. Straight up. So when people think about the industry, they think about Drake. They think about this person. They think about, that person. They don't want to think about Soulja Boy. But unfortunately, Malcolm X dies. So he's not here. Rest in peace, Malcolm X. But Soulja Boy is here, where he can kick and scream and yell and get his fucking flowers. I don't fucking blame the guy. Because look at the era we live in right now. Because there's so many people out there like you that's like, oh, we're gonna get the next Soulja Boy, and then just front like this nigga died. No, like I said, he's still here to dispute this shit, and I'm a fucking former fan, and I'm still fucking here to fucking dispute this shit. And you have not. I don't even know how long it's been. You have not disputed this shit yet. All you need to say. I won't
dispute it. Hey,
you have two things to say. You have two things to say because it's checkmate. Because I haven't heard anything yet. You have two things.
It's not checkmate.
No. You have two things to say. One, Soulja Boy is a GOAT. He might not be the GOAT that you like. He might not be the number one GOAT, but he is a fucking GOAT. Or you don't have to say that. I'm giving you an option. You don't have to say that. Or what you can say is, I don't like the guy. And I can respect that too. Because everything not for everybody, dog. Because if I know for a fact I don't like a certain nigga, you're not gonna get me to tell him. You're not gonna get me to say that a nigga's a fucking GOAT if I just straight up just don't like the motherfucker. And especially like if you had to pay me to listen to this nigga's music. Because when was the last time you went out of your way to listen to a Soulja Boy record? You haven't.
You don't
even know this nigga's music.
I do got a couple songs
that he came out with wasn't revolutionary music. This nigga, if Soulja Boy was out like prime Soulja Boy, if you could time travel, you take that nigga from 2009 and you take that nigga right now, and you put him into this era, he would fit in more now than he did back then. This nigga was just way ahead of his time, and he never got to reap any of the fucking benefits. Because I bet you all this nigga's mixtapes, because if you remember, there was Dat Piff, live mixtapes, and some other fucking shit that I don't goddamn remember. If he were to release those mixtapes on Apple Music, if Prime Soulja Boy had an Apple Music deal, had a Spotify deal, nigga, it would be a fucking rap. You take Bluface, you take a lot of these niggas, and you throw them in 2009, they wouldn't even flourish. They wouldn't even flourish because they're not ghosts. You can't take them and move them in the era prior to them, and then they would flourish. They fucking couldn't do it. They fucking couldn't do it because these niggas, they could not withstand the same backlash and hate that this nigga Soulja Boy did. Because the whole music industry hated Soulja Boy. Everybody hated this nigga. There were not too many niggas showing this nigga love. What was it, Gucci Mane? That was it. And then even Snoop Dogg dissed this nigga Soulja Boy when he fucking came out and apologized to that nigga. He straight up apologized to that nigga Soulja Boy. Was like, yo, like, you's a real nigga. You here to stay. Yo, stop playing with me, bro. Stop playing with me, bro. Let me break this down. You said Snoop Dogg was a GOAT. That nigga was like number 6 in the niggas that I asked in the 20 niggas that I asked you to name. That nigga Snoop Dogg told Soulja Boy out of his fucking mouth in 2009. He said, "Yo, I'm sorry, cuz for hating on you. You's a real nigga. You here to stay." That nigga. So exactly.
That don't make somebody a GOAT,
you know why,
though.
what you think does no longer matters anymore, because when you ask the ghosts themselves, the niggas that you caping for, they're gonna give this nigga his credit. They're gonna.
That don't make somebody a GOAT, though.
50 Cent. You call 50 Cent. You call Snoop Dogg, you call goddamn freaking even Jay-Z. Jay-Z would give that nigga his credit. He would be like, yo, I see him. I seen it. Facts.
I mean, but so this is what I'm saying. Just because someone give him his props, like I said, I do like Soulja Boy. I have a bunch of his songs on my phone. I do like Soulja Boy, but I have to be real here. You know what I'm saying?
What songs you got in your phone?
I got Shootout. I got I still got Cranked Out.
You just heard Shootout the other day, so that shit don't count.
No, I've listened to it. Yeah, I did. But here's my thing, though. This levels to the game. I like Soulja Boy. He's popular. But when you look at the GOATs of NBA, of music, he's not going to be a GOAT. Why? Because Dwight Howard is not LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? Dwight Howard is good, and he's good at what he does. For instance, let me break this up. Oh, hold on, but let me say this, right? Vince Carter. I love Vince Carter. I've always been a Vince Carter fan because he revolutionized dunk contests. Like, this dude broke records. He did dunks that nobody could do. But Vince Carter is not on the same level as LeBron or a Michael Jordan or Kobe.
I agree.
That's what I'm saying. I like Soulja Boy. I like what he's done, but he's not going to be a Jay-Z. He's not going to be a Kanye West.
You don't have to. You don't have to, because he's Soulja Boy. Jay-Z cannot say, yo, I'm the reason why artists are on YouTube now. I'm the reason why artists.
But Jay-Z's inspired many people, though.
Are on Instagram Live. I'm the reason why albums are not a thing anymore. Physical album sales are not a thing anymore. People have the option to go to the store and get albums, but nigga, they don't want to. Donda and Certified Lover Boy are straight digital releases now. Niggas don't talk about, go get my album in stores. Niggas don't do this shit anymore. Niggas is like, yo, this shit is coming out at 12. Download the shit. Stream it. Why? Because Soulja Boy set that fucking standard. Because that's why he got signed in the first place. Because niggas was looking at him like, oh, he's got this internet shit on lock. Let's capitalize on the shit. Let's give this nigga $1 million record deal. We know we're gonna get a return on that investment. That's why he got so fucking rich. Because he got $1 million to fucking, to do whatever shit to he already had the album anyway, ready anyways. What did he do? Record a couple of more fucking songs and then release the fucking album. That shit probably exceeded way over the fucking budget. And then he produced the whole entire goddamn album, pretty much.
Right.
That's the reason why niggas didn't like him, because they're like, yo, like we're sitting here, we got to pay writers and producers, and then here comes this nigga who does this whole shit by himself, and he gets all this fucking money, and then he's hot right now. My wife is doing this nigga's dancing shit like that, and he got swag. Like, yo, come on, bro, come on, man. Like I said, stop playing with me, because if I call Jay-Z, Snoop Dogg, 50 Cent, Kanye West, Drake, all these niggas would give him his props, except for you. I don't know why you not doing it. You better follow suit. You're the nigga.
No, but I'm saying
you're the nigga his props, or just say you don't like him.
No, but I'm saying even if they gave him a props, if you ask him is he one of the ghosts, they would say
they're
no,
gonna tell
because
you
he's not. No, he's not.
Okay, so then why does Snoop Dogg apologize to this nigga, and why does Snoop Dogg tell Soulja Boy out of his own fucking mouth, verbatim, you're here to stay?
Because he was popular at that time.
That's bullshit.
You think
bullshit, because the new boys were popular at that time. Mad artists came out in 2009. Where are these niggas now? Not too many. Or do people talk about what's this nigga's name? What's that nigga's name? The guy who came out with Birthday Sex. What's that nigga's name? It's also
Jeremiah.
Jeremiah. Niggas don't talk about that nigga, and he was hot. That nigga was hot in 2009. Nobody fucking talks about him. That nigga was on tour with them. Did Snoop Dogg go up to him like, yo, you's a real nigga. You here to stay too. That nigga didn't tell him that shit. He told fucking Soulja Boy that shit a GOAT. Because Snoop Dogg was the first weed nigga in the industry. And then he passed that torch to Wiz Khalifa. He told this nigga out of his mouth, yo, you here to stay. And guess what? More than 10 years later, we're in 2021 now. This shit is true.
But I would say this too, like, for instance, Tekashi, right before the snitching and everything, when he was
Tekashi 6ix9ine.
Yeah, but before the snitching,
I'm just kidding. I don't fucking care.
Nah, I know, but before the snitching and everything, Tekashi was one of the most viewed people on YouTube because his personality, he was dominating Instagram. He was that dude, right? Everybody was giving him respect. Yeah, of course, people hated him because he was a troll, but people gave him respect. Now, I'm not saying Tekashi is like a Soulja Boy. I love what Soulja Boy has done. I'm not disagreeing.
Tekashi's not a GOAT. Tekashi's
not a GOAT. But that's what I'm saying. I love what Soulja Boy has done. But when you look at the Jay-Z's, the Michael Jacksons, the Chris Browns and everything, yes, Soulja Boy will always, well, he will probably be remembered at some point, but he's not going to be considered a GOAT.
You said he won't even be talked about. So now you, like I said, so now you're going to.
Oh, no, he won't be, but he will always be, everybody's going to always remember Crank That. I mean, that's just.
No, when you're trying, you see, again, you're still talking about music. I specified that if we're talking about, no one's going to talk about, you know, unless you're a Soulja Boy fan or some shit like that, or you just really like his music, no one's gonna say, "Oh, Soulja Boy nigga." I told you this shit yesterday. I mean, the other day, I said, "Yo, if they were to do, you know, have a time capsule and take all the monumental rap songs that have come out, Crank That will be in there." And I said that before. They're not gonna have any songs by Bow Wow in there. They will not. They will not. But Crank That will be in there. They're not gonna.
Of course, but
they're not gonna have that gold song. I don't even remember what that song was called by freaking Trinidad James. It's not gonna be in there. The fucking Crank That gonna goddamn be in there. That's a fact. That's a fact. Because like they have like where they preserve certain films and how Thriller is one of the films that will be preserved. Crank That is gonna. This shit is in the fucking Guinness Book of World Records. So technically, it's already in there. It's already in there. No other artist sat there that fucking age at 16 years old, wrote and produced a #1 record that was on the Billboard Hot 100 for as long as it fucking was. Fucking Lil Wayne, who don't even dance, was doing the fucking Crank That. Beyonce was doing the fucking Crank That. Chris Brown was doing. Everybody was doing the shit. It transcended racial fucking barriers. Fucking Bow Wow cannot say he did that shit. T-Pain, again, like T-Pain was a guy that just was lukewarm. Until Jay-Z just decided to be like, yo, I'm not fucking with this shit no more. Death of Autotune. And this nigga shit, he was done. Nigga, T-Pain said, he was like, yo, that shit ruined my career. So if T-Pain was all that great, he would have transcended that. He would have been like, okay, cool. I'm still great. So you know what? I'm going to show people what I can do without Autotune. And he didn't do it. He didn't do it. And then on top of that, he let Usher tell him, oh, yo, man, you really ruined music. And then this nigga said that was one of the reasons why he fell into like a deep depression for X amount of time. So this is what I'm saying. Yo, that never happened to Soulja Boy, though. How many times did niggas say Soulja Boy's shit was trash? How many times did people, belittle his music and say that he was trash and he was garbage? That nigga still thrive. No, not too many people can fucking do that. So if we're going to talk about a top 20, a top 30, that nigga better be somewhere in that motherfucker. And then if he's not, that shit is cap. And I'm just being real.
If you're not even just talking about music in general, but you just saying
because
like
nigga,
everything.
Tupac is somebody that changed the game. Tupac is a nigga that changed the fucking game. There's a reason why Tupac is still talked about today, and it has a lot of times has nothing to do with music. That's nothing to do with music. That's what makes you great. Niggas don't just when you're great. Oh, what you're good at and what you do. When niggas talk about Michael Jordan, sometimes it might be about basketball, but there's so much other shit that Michael Jordan fucking did. LeBron, when niggas can talk about his greatness on the fucking court, and niggas can talk about his greatness off the fucking court. When we're talking about Soulja Boy, you could talk about his greatness on the mic. Again, #1 fucking record, written, fucking produced at 16 fucking years old. Greatness on the fucking mic. And then we could talk about his greatness off the mic, the effect that it had on the fucking music industry, or the effect he had on the music industry. Because it wasn't just a song, it was him that was doing shit. That is greatness. Niggas not gonna just sit there and talk about, these are good songs, good. No, niggas are gonna talk about shit that you did outside of that. And that's what separates niggas like Soulja Boy from artists that just make good music. Nigga, you just make good music. What the fuck else did you do outside of that? Who is saying, yo, I'm here, I'm only here because of you, because of the opportunities you gave me or the doors you fucking kicked down? Not every artist can say that. I've not heard one artist say, yo, man, I'm here today or we here today because of the Migos. Nah, like unless like another young nigga rap group comes out X amount of years, because they can't come out right now because Migos are still hot, so they can't come out right now. You know what I'm saying?
But that's what, yeah. But
so again, what do Migos do outside of fucking music?
Nothing,
What does Justin
nothing.
Bieber do outside of being a fucking artist? What does I mean, I can't really say Drake because isn't he like the fucking ambassador of goddamn Toronto? But that's what I'm saying. Like Kanye does shit outside of fucking music. Fucking Drake does shit outside of music. Lil Wayne is responsible for so many fucking careers. Soulja Boy did the same thing, except he didn't sign. He like unofficially signed these niggas. You know the amount of motherfuckers that came through this nigga, and I mentioned these niggas earlier. So if you're not hearing me, that's only because you have an unconscious bias towards Soulja Boy Tell Him. And that's okay. No. You don't have to like the nigga because there's certain artists that I don't like. I can't think of an artist that I don't like right now. But if I just didn't like the nigga, you're not gonna get me to say, oh, the niggas a GOAT if I don't like the motherfucker. And it seems that that's the fucking case with you, which that's okay. But just admit it. Just admit it. Because you have not, like literally, if this was a chessboard right now, you literally only have like 2 or 3 pawns left. And my queen is right there and my king is over here.
I disagree. You know why?
I got all my pieces. You're practically surrounded. And all you're doing now is moving the same piece back and forth.
But you know why I disagree? Because if you looked at, if we just not even just talking about music, you got the Pharrells, you got the Dr. Dre's, you got the Timberlands. Soulja Boy is not a GOAT. What he did was popular. Don't get me wrong, but he is not a GOAT. Dwight Howard, Jeremy Lin, when they were popular at their peak, they're not LeBron, they're not Kobe.
Soulja Boy is not he would be the equivalent of Jeremy Lin or Dwight Howard if all he had to his name was Crank That. And if niggas was still going to the stores to fucking buy albums, then you could say that shit. How is Pharrell a fucking GOAT? What does Pharrell do? Make clothes and shit like that?
Whoa. How's Pharrell a GOAT?
Pharrell is not in the top 20 GOATs of rap, bro. So stop with the cap. No, he's not. Nigga, so Pharrell is not. No. Pharrell is not a fucking GOAT of motherfucking rap. Pharrell is not in the motherfucking top 20, period.
That's
period. Cameron, if we're gonna talk about top 20, Cameron is in there. Jadakiss is in the fucking top 20.
That's disrespectful.
Pharrell is not a fucking GOAT of goddamn rap, dog. Pharrell is not. If Pharrell were to do a verses and shit like that, what is Pharrell gonna fucking perform? What's he gonna do? What is he gonna do? But why do you think Jadakiss was killing that shit? Because that nigga's up there. We're talking about rap. Your niggas don't talk about Pharrell, bro. Niggas talk about Pharrell the same way they talk about fucking No. Niggas talk about Pharrell the same way they talk about Dr. Dre. He's a fucking producer. He's a nigga that just does other shit. Niggas don't talk about music when they talk about Pharrell. They talk about other shit. It's the same shit I said about Ice Cube because I'm being consistent. Pharrell came out in the fucking music lane, but now Pharrell is at a point where niggas talk about fashion more than they talk about fucking music because that's all he went on to do. Yeah, he might do producing here and there, but that's a nigga that does other shit. That nigga does more bait, fashion related shit than he does about music. Niggas don't talk about fucking rap niggas don't talk about Pharrell when they talk about rap. No, all
right, but even if you take out Pharrell, the Soulja Boy is not cracking the top 30.
Pharrell didn't change the game. What did Pharrell ever do to change the game? Make niggas dress a certain fucking way? That's not changing the game, dog. That's not changing the game. You could say Lil Wayne changed the fucking game in numerous fucking ways. You could say Jay-Z changed the fucking game in numerous fucking ways. These are fucking ghosts of fucking music. You talk about these niggas when you talk about rap. The reason why I would say Soulja Boy is dead last is because, yeah, when you're talking about music and songs, you're not going to really talk about him. But when you talk about the impact, you have to put him up there. You have to put him up there. Again, 20, 30, that nigga better be last. That nigga better be dead fucking last. He better be up there. If not, it's fucking cap. And because there's so many people that do not want to acknowledge that shit, and it's fucking true. Do not say, "Oh, Pharrell is greater than Soulja Boy," because this is a fashion nigga.
Oh, he definitely is. That's no question.
Pharrell is not a GOAT of rap. I don't even look at Pharrell as a fucking rapper no more, dog. That's why when you said Dr. Dre and Ice Cube, I'm like, nigga, I don't think about no fucking Dr. Dre when I think about rap. Bro, no, I'll think about Eminem before I think about Dr. Dre. You know what I'm saying? Because Eminem is a fucking rapper. Eminem is a goddamn rapper. We just don't think about Pharrell. No, I would think about Joel Santana and Jim Jones way before I think of goddamn Pharrell. What songs Pharrell come out with right now? None, because he's too busy doing other goddamn shit and being great in other areas. He's a great dude, but not when it comes to rap, not when it comes to impact. Period. He might have came out with Bait, but shit, nigga, Soulja Boy was the one that made that shit fucking popular. Because I didn't know what Bait was in 2006 until I went on somebody's MySpace page, and I heard I Got Me Some Bathing Apes. That's how I knew about that shit. I didn't know about that shit because of fucking Pharrell, because of Lil Wayne. No, I knew about that shit because of Soulja Boy. That nigga wasn't lying when he said that shit. So again, you just have to admit that you don't like the guy because it just doesn't sound like the facts, because I've just been speaking straight facts and receipts. Facts and receipts is all I've been talking about. You really just been saying what you feel. And what you feel,
he's not a ghost.
What
though.
You feel,
if you
and what you no. What you feel is not fact, my guy. And what you feel is not fact. That's just how you feel, because what you feel ain't always what it is. What you think ain't always what it is, because what it is Soulja Boy changed the fucking music industry. When people are gonna have, I don't even know what kind of fuck. If niggas are gonna have an interview with Time Magazine and talk about the music industry in a certain fucking time period, if these niggas don't call Soulja Boy to talk about a certain fucking segment or speak to this nigga, these motherfuckers are big cat.
They won't.
Big cat.
They won't.
Big cat. You know why they won't? Because motherfuckers want to just give credit to somebody else. And I've been through that shit since 2012, 2013. I was looking around the industry. I was like, yo, these niggas don't want to give this nigga credit. The way I see shit going right now, he's to thank for that. So it's not his fault that the fucking that his album sales weren't there. But if he got the handicap, because all streaming sales is just a handicap that they put on the industry, because niggas is not buying album fucking sales anymore. If he got a chance to share in that at his peak when those expectations were high, because niggas thought he was going to do crazy numbers, and then when he didn't, his shit went downward because people were like, oh damn, he's not selling any records anymore, so he must have fell off. And then what happened? Juice fucking mixtape. After that, fucking Mad Chief Keef features, and then after that, fucking Migos and shit like that. Now fucking stop Rich the Kid, all these niggas, you know, say in the background, Nicki Minaj, Drake, We Made It, all this shit. Like, yo, again, stop playing with me, bro. Because if we got Kanye West in the shit, if we got the Migos in this shit, if we got all these niggas that we're talking about, if these niggas are going to be real with themselves, which they have, because when Soulja Boy was going off on Instagram Live, Breakfast Club and all that shit, these niggas were asked about Soulja Boy. Nigga A$AP Ferg was like, yeah, yo, I like that song Gucci Bandana. Nigga A$AP Rocky said the same shit. I don't remember what that nigga said verbatim, but the nigga validated everything that Soulja Boy fucking said. He was like, yo, I was watching that nigga. I used to watch this nigga. He might not have said that verbatim, but shit, they had to have seen this nigga in fucking passing, because he was the young nigga that was doing that shit. He was the first of his fucking kind. No young niggas like him getting tatted up, neck tats, all this shit. Young niggas, because yeah, Lil Wayne already had tats, but Soulja was a young nigga, the first of his fucking kind doing that shit. That nigga was the first nigga to do the shit. Period. He's not lying. If he was lying, then I'd be like, yeah, nah, that nigga's lying. He's capping, but he's not. He's not. I'm being completely unbiased, because take the fact that I used to be a fan out of it, because I told you I don't listen to this music now. No. When I hear She Make It Clap, I mean, I might hear that shit in passing, but not that, oh, I'm opening my phone to listen to that shit. Nigga, that's a song for girls. And Rick and Morty is a song for kids. That shit ain't for me. You see what I'm saying? So, again, you're moving the same pawn over and over and over again. It's like, you know, if you leave your piece there and I move another piece somewhere, you're gonna have to concede, because that's how chess. We've just been playing verbal mental chess. And again, you have a couple of pieces left, and if you ever play chess, you can keep moving the same piece back and forth. But the minute you move that shit to the left or the right, it's done. It's made in six. It's made in six. Because you, again, have not presented any facts. You've only told me what you think and what you feel. And when you have to think, you don't know. You have to think about it. You don't know anything for sure. I told you receipts. I've given you quotes and scenarios, shit that the people, the persons of interest, the people in question, things that they have said, they agree with me. So what are you saying? Your opinions, what you think, and that's okay. You know what I'm saying? That's fine. But you just have to just say, yo, yeah, nah, I don't like the nigga. Because if roles reversed and I didn't like Soulja Boy, like I just felt like, yo, I don't like the motherfucker, I would just say, yo, I don't like the motherfucker, and I'm not gonna say that shit. I would literally tell you straight up, I'm like, nigga, I don't give a fuck what you say. I'm not gonna tell you that this nigga's a GOAT because I don't like him. The difference between me and you is I would just own it and I would just say, yo, yeah, I don't like the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? It's just true. It's just
it's not like I don't hate Soulja Boy.
I'm not saying you hate him. I'm not saying you hate him. But clearly, if you were gonna put Pharrell in the fucking top goddamn 20 of artists and then not even want to acknowledge Soulja, because Soulja Boy still fucking does music today, nigga. No one talks about Pharrell right now. No one talks about this nigga's. No one talks about this nigga's music. No one talks about this nigga's music. Niggas talk about his clothes and whatever the fuck else that production and shit like that. Because I think he produced the Brent Faiyaz, Drake Wasting Time track. You know what I'm saying? But still, that nigga's a fucking producer, fucking fashion connoisseur. He ain't no fucking rapper.
But that's what I'm saying. Just because he's not popular now, Snoop Dogg is not a popular rapper now, but that doesn't mean he's not.
I never said that. That's the thing. I never said that. What I just said was that you foolishly, blasphemously were willing to put Pharrell over Soulja Boy.
If we're talking about GOAT, yes.
Of top 20, top 30, top 50 artists of all fucking rappers.
Of course.
No, that's fucking trash. And that means you don't know hip hop because Pharrell is not a goddamn hip hop artist no more. That's because even Ice Cube, I said, yo, Ice Cube used to make music. Today's a fucking good day. Another type of shit. He's greatness transcended what he does as a hip hop artist to the point where now when you talk about Ice Cube, niggas aren't talking about Ice Cube as a rapper no more because that shit was so long ago. He did more outside of rap than he did inside of rap. Pharrell is the same fucking thing. What fucking number one record has Pharrell had? Can Pharrell ever say, yo, I had the fucking world in my hand? No. Pharrell never wrote and produced a number one record. And then even if he did, which I don't think so. I would have to look. I'll probably look right now. Like I said, I don't remember people talking about, yo, Pharrell had this new dance. He had the world in his fucking hand. No, not too many artists can say that shit. 50 Cent did. Pharrell is not even in the same conversation as 50 Cent. Pharrell is not a GOAT, bro. Not in terms of rap. Not in terms of the music industry. He is not. So again, that's why.
And the music industry, yes, he is.
I'm just conveying that point because that's what you're willing to do, which is wrong. That is incorrect. They're incorrect. So I didn't say because somebody's hot right now. I literally just disputed that whole shit. I defended why it's fine for somebody to not be hot right now if they made a substantial contribution to music as we know it right now and the way that artists conduct and operate themselves right now. Soulja Boy is responsible for everybody. For everybody, whether you choose to admit it or not. I've given you facts. I've given you receipts. I've given you quotes. I've given you stories, anecdotes, my experiences as a fan. I've given you everything that's actually tangible. I've given you tangible evidence, details. I've elaborated all of that shit. All you have given me thus far, because if you didn't, I would actually say, yo, well, you gave me some good points, but you have not given me not one good point yet. You have not given me not one good point yet. And I'm not going to say I don't want to wait for it, but I'm saying if this was a chess game, you only have a couple pieces left and you're flailing around. You're flailing a couple like your pawn.
I disagree. You know why?
You're moving your rook back and forth because if you move it to the side and you admit, yo, I just don't like this nigga, it's fucking checkmate. It's fucking checkmate. Because what are you going to say that you haven't said before already?
Like I said,
I'm waiting for you to say something. I'm waiting for you to make me say, damn, he's right. You haven't said anything yet.
Because he's not a GOAT. He's not a GOAT. You sound like a lot of the niggas
that I've met in the past that just didn't like the motherfucker. And mind you, like I said, I was a kid when I was a fan of him, and I've met a lot of niggas that just didn't like this dude. You know what I'm saying? Hey, like, yo, like you sound just like one, and that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, it's at this moot checkmate area right now, and it's either you're gonna concede to those two options I gave you, or you're just gonna happen to say something new. And in the presence of tangible evidence and facts and details and points that I prove, you have not given me anything yet. You've only just told me how you feel, and I'm not talking about how I feel. I'm talking about what I know for sure. What
I know for sure is Soulja Boy is not a GOAT. He's not.
I've only discussed what I know for sure and what has come out of the mouths of the niggas that you respect. Out of the niggas that's in your top 20, in your top 20, that's what I'm saying. Nigga, Snoop Dogg said, yo, you's a real nigga, you here to stay. The nigga still fucking.
But that doesn't mean he's a GOAT,
though. Was number 6 in your top 20. And that nigga said, yo, you's a real nigga. You here to stay. That nigga still fucking here. Kanye West, you ain't even heard Donda yet. That nigga not only called fucking Soulja Boy for a fucking verse in 2021, but back in 2007, 2008, he was the first nigga to come to his defense other than 50 Cent. And those two niggas had the biggest albums of that year so far. If you remember, they did the whole 50 Cent versus Kanye West thing because these niggas were so fucking huge. And both of these niggas went platinum in 1 fucking week. In the height of their career, they took time out of their day to fucking, say, acknowledge another GOAT in the fucking making. Because these niggas recognize greatness to this fucking day. You call 50 Cent, you call Kanye West, you call all these other motherfuckers, these niggas would say that Soulja Boy's a fucking GOAT. Period.
No, they wouldn't.
Not have anything to say in dispute of that.
No, they wouldn't. Because, like I said,
but they did already. I don't know what
they never called him a GOAT. They just acknowledged him. That's not the same.
They did already. These niggas is all still cool. Even Soulja Boy dissed this nigga Kanye West like a couple, like when he was flailing around at Breakfast Club. They still cool now. So even after that, he was like, yo, nigga, I want you to come to Atlanta to record this fucking verse. How do you know how they feel? Because I'm going off of what they said. Unless they diss this nigga and you have proof of them feeling otherwise, you cannot say, oh, that's how they feel. Because as of what I can see lately, these niggas don't fucking feel that way. Straight up.
But that's what I'm saying. What you feel is the same way as I feel. Just because they're calling him to do a feature doesn't mean he's a GOAT.
I'm talking about what I've seen and I've heard. So how is it just because? No. How is it that I'm able to quote these people? So who am I quoting from? I can't make this shit up. That's what all I'm saying.
But what I'm saying.
So I could pull up right now the XXL interview with 50 Cent. 50 Cent has been there through Soulja Boy's career, literally from start to fucking finish. This nigga, he was practically the one that was there the whole entire fucking time. This nigga 50 Cent got Soulja Boy a whole fucking tour bus for him to record his third album while he was on tour. Like, what would 50 Cent could have did that shit for fucking Bow Wow? Bow Wow was still around in 2009. He didn't do that shit for him. He did that shit for fucking Soulja Boy. Come on, man. It's like, yo, come on. And that has nothing to do with that was his fucking time because these niggas are still around each other right now. He's still making phone calls right now. Soulja Boy is still around. He's going to be around next year, the year fucking after that, all this shit because he's reinvented himself. He's reinvented the wheel because the only reason why he's yelling right now is because he sees that that's what's getting people's attention. If Bow Wow could start yelling and people to get paying attention to him, he would do that shit. But you know why? He can't because Bow Wow is fucking vintage. Straight
of course.
Up.
I agree with you about the.
Yeah, but okay, go ahead. My bad.
I agree with you about the whole Bow Wow thing. It took me a while, but I agree with you when the terms of Soulja Boy and Bow Wow. But all I'm saying is this: as much as I like Soulja Boy, because I do like him, I like Soulja Boy. I love what he's done. But if you look at the GOATs, he is not one. He's just not one. You can't say that's not. Again, you're moving your piece back, so you just moved it back one to move it back forward again. That's all. I've always maintained that position though, because I've always maintained it, and I took all your pieces. By you saying, oh, he's not a GOAT. You just moved your piece back. All right. I mean, that's not moving the game forward at all because again, I got you surrounded. There's nothing else left for you to say. Like that's what you're supposed to say. That's what you're supposed to say as a nigga that don't like Soulja Boy. So I didn't even know why you're going to contradict it. I don't know why you're going to contradict yourself and say, I like the guy. Myself. I maintain the same point.
You're saying I like the guy. I appreciate what he did. And then, but he's not a GOAT. And
he's not.
No. And I just given you all of these facts. Again, that's what I said. That's what you're supposed to say. You know why they call them unconscious biases? Because you're not aware of them. You're not aware of your unconscious bias. And I just told you, if I didn't like a nigga like you don't like him, there's no way I'm going to sit there.
I've never said I don't like him, though.
There's no way I'm going to sit there and say, yo, this nigga's a GOAT. If I know deep down inside somewhere, there's some sector in my mind, in my psyche, I say, yo, I don't fucking like that nigga. I'm not going to say that shit. So yeah, if I was in your shoes, I would just say, yo, I don't like the motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? I just don't have a filter. And I'm more honest than you. You're not going to say that shit. So I'm giving you two options. Just say, yo, I don't like the motherfucker, or acknowledge that he's a fucking GOAT, a fucking rap, whether you like it or not. I
disagree. I disagree with that. You can like somebody and appreciate what they've done.
But I'm saying the reason why I'm right is because I spoke in facts. I've given proof, evidence, quotes, anecdotes. I've given.
So can I ask you a question?
All you've ever given me so far is your opinion, dog.
So can I ask you a question?
As far as your opinion.
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
If I gave you facts about Vince Carter basketball career, does that make him better than LeBron or GOAT?
The thing is,
I'm just asking you a question.
No. We talked about basketball in great detail already. So if we want to talk about if you want to hear what I said about basketball, when we're finished with the shit and I upload the shit, you'll be able to go back and see what I'm saying. Because I literally I tried to get through and you're flailing around. And this is the thing. If we were in a chess tournament right now, these niggas would probably like flip your pawn piece for you. Because some people, they just don't want to concede defeat. Like they don't know when they're completely surrounded. You are a guy, you're completely surrounded by SWAT, all of that shit, the fucking army. And you're just like, yo, I'm not going. I'm just not going. And that's okay. But yo, like just admit you don't like the guy.
You know why? No, I don't have to because say I don't like him.
You know why? That will give context to this X amount of time exercise in futility. Because this right here is a verbal, like if there was a picture to go with the phrase or the definition of an exercise in futility, this conversation would go exactly with it. Because everything you're doing right now, because you've only given me your opinion and not what you know or not a fact, not a quote or anything, this is an exercise in futility. And again, I know when I have somebody beat. And you have not presented anything to there's not one moment, and you know you my boy. There's not one moment where I was like, you know what? Nah, like, yo, that was a good point. Nah, I didn't see it that way. Because if I felt like that, I would tell you that. And I never not once felt like that at all. So I'm waiting for you to admit that this man is a fucking GOAT, whether you like it or not, or you just don't like the guy. And then that's it. But I'm gonna need you to flip. I'm gonna need you to flip that pawn down. Because every listener right now knows I got you beat. And then the niggas that don't fucking agree with me, the only reason why they don't agree with me is because they don't fucking like the guy, which that's to be expected. I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to you. You see what I'm saying? So flip it out because you're going to keep going back. You're going to move it back and forth. If I've played chess, I actually play chess. I know what I'm talking about. You can get to a point where the CPU or you have somebody beat and to avoid the mate in 6 or the checkmate, they can just keep moving their pawn up and then down. So it's like when you move it up, I move my queen up. Then you move it down, I move my queen down. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, yo, come on, bro. Like, just give it up. Give it up.
Look, here's my last 2 cents, right? I don't have to say I dislike him because I don't dislike him. That's like me saying,
well, given
like
circumstances, you dislike the guy.
No, because I can say I like Tom Holland. That doesn't mean he's a Denzel Washington. You know what I'm saying? But here's my point. Like, because I've said this throughout this whole time. I like Soulja Boy, and I appreciate him. Like I appreciate Bow Wow. Like I appreciate Chris Brown, Michael Jackson, everything. But when you look at, the Snoop Dogg's, the Tupacs, Michael Jacksons, Soulja Boy is not a GOAT. That's all I'm saying. I like what he's done. I appreciate him, but sometimes the facts is the facts. I like James Harden.
Give this man his credit.
No.
How do you like the guy?
I give him his credit. I give him his credit.
That's like a nigga got to answer right on the test. You'd be like, you know what, nigga, I'm not going to give you credit for this right answer. Like this, that's exactly what you're doing. Because I can ask you a question, but regardless of how you answer that question, it's still not going to change the fact that I've systematically got you beat. Because what it seems like you judge as far as a GOAT is concerned, you're talking about music and the content of the music that somebody makes. I am talking about something completely different. Yeah. Again, if we want to talk about who makes the better music, I might listen to, Like You or Let Me Hold You over Kiss Me Through the Phone. I mean, shit, because like, you know what I'm saying? It just might be a better fucking song. You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about grand scheme, who Time Magazine is going to talk about when they talk about the music industry in 2008, 2009, and fucking onward. They're going to call this nigga. When YouTube,
but that's not right. But that's not fair.
If YouTube were to have an event or some shit 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and then they're going to talk about the various artists that came through their fucking platform, they're going to call, when they call Justin Bieber, they're going to call Soulja Boy. You know why? Because Soulja Boy came before that nigga. And regardless of anybody wants to say, everybody knows Soulja Boy came through fucking YouTube first. And that's some shit. There's a reason why Justin Bieber coming into Instagram lives with Justin Bieber coming into his lives. Go on YouTube. Go look it up. Because arguably right now, Justin Bieber is a bigger artist. Why Justin Bieber watching Soulja Boy lives? You know why? Because Justin Bieber, who is great, acknowledges greatness. I bet you, if I were to YouTube Bow Wow, Justin Bieber Instagram live, you're not gonna be able to see it because it never happened. Never happened. It never happened. It never happened.
But
You know what I'm saying? Facts.
But even
Facts.
despite
so what does that tell you?
Though,
what does that tell you about this guy?
He's popular.
How the greats of today look at this. Look at him, because he's one of them. He is one of them. Otherwise, he's not gonna be in the same. Yo, if they could ignore this nigga, they would. If they could ignore this nigga, they would, just like any other fucking artist. Like, you know how many artists are out there that like wish that they can get, you know, that kind of publicity. Oh, Justin Bieber came into my Instagram live. What the fuck? Like, nigga, Jake and Logan Paul are so fucking big, right? In 2013, Logan Paul was in a Soulja Boy video, and nigga, Soulja Boy was pistol whipping Logan Paul in his fucking video. And nigga, this is before Logan Paul people even knew who these niggas were. And look at how big Jake and Logan Paul are. Nigga, Logan Paul was
and they're all bigger than Soulja Boy.
Logan Paul was just in an exhibition bout with Floyd Mayweather. What was he doing in 2013 when you said that Soulja Boy was non-existent? He was getting pistol whipped by Soulja Boy for a fucking music video. Greatness, nigga. Greatness.
But to your point though, Logan and Jake Paul is bigger than Soulja Boy.
Right, but yo, he was getting pistol whipped by Soulja Boy for his own fucking music video. For his own fucking music video. What does that say about Soulja Boy, nigga? Do I have to call Logan? Like, do you have to hear from these people how they really feel about this guy? Because they're gonna tell you. Why would Logan Paul, who again is a big public figure entity right now, why would he be going to the house of some fucking black guy and getting pissed with him, shit like that? Why? Because he was like, yo, this nigga Soulja Boy, yo, I gotta get next to him. You know who was at his house that same year? Rich the Kid, Famous Dex, Migos, and all these other motherfuckers that are bigger artists than him today. They came through the fucking GOAT. They came through a GOAT. They came through a GOAT. Come on, dog. Not everybody can do that. You know another artist that did that? Lil Wayne. Because these artists, because Drake is bigger than Lil Wayne now, he came through Lil Wayne. Right. Lil Wayne had paperwork on Drake. Lil Wayne.
Wait, what? No. Artist?
Lil Wayne had paperwork on Drake. Lil Wayne had paperwork on Nicki Minaj and Tyga. You know what I'm saying? Soulja Boy might not have, but he had those handshake, you know what I'm saying, pseudo agreements and shit like that there are receipts on. You can look these things up. So I don't know what else I can say, because I just gave you another, like, that shit just came to mind. I was like, yeah, nigga, he was getting pistol whipped by fucking Soulja Boy. Logan Paul was in a Soulja Boy fucking video. These niggas were at his house. They came through him. Did Bow Wow fucking pistol with Logan Paul? Excuse me. Checkmate.
But I don't understand how that makes him a GOAT just because they was in his music video. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're probably gonna have to like process this after the fact. You're gonna have to process this after the fact, because again, this is how unconscious biases work. This is how they work. You're not aware of the biases that you have. So I'm aware of my bias, but I'm not biased when it comes. In the face of facts, you are not going to budge. I mean, I'm not going to call you ignorant, because I know you're not being ignorant, because I told you, if I didn't like the nigga, it's just you don't like the guy. That's why I'm trying to tell you how you feel. You just don't want to admit it. And I've met so many people just like you that had the same. I've met so many people just like you that had the same thinking. Like, nigga, you know how many battles I fought being a Soulja Boy fan? Like, nigga, everything that you presenting to me right now, nigga, I've experienced that shit 10 fucking years before. 10 years before. You see what I'm saying? So again, here's my thing though.
Are you done?
No, but here's my thing. Here's my final point. Here's my final point.
Are you done? Because I gotta go Wakanda on you now. Like,
no.
Are you done?
Here's my point. Here's my point. I like Soulja. Like I said,
don't stop saying that, because
I do like Soulja Boy. It's not
gonna work. Just stop capping. If you're gonna cap, but don't cap about that. You said that shit like 50 times, and you're gonna hear it. You're gonna be like, you're gonna watch this back and listen to this shit and be like, damn, you know what? I don't like this nigga. Like, I can see what this nigga was talking about. Some people, they can't really acknowledge themselves in the heat of the moment. And in this scenario, you're not gonna acknowledge it.
But
I'm giving you facts. In the court of law right now, if there was a judge, you would have lost. If we had a mediator, if we literally had a court judge, that we had to present evidence, facts, statements, if we had to have witnesses, all this shit, nigga, all my facts would be there, all my evidences, all my shit would be correct. And then on top of that, the witnesses that I would have to come and fucking speak are the niggas that we've been talking about this whole entire time. In fact, the niggas that you think are the top 20 GOATs, if I were to get these niggas to come and speak on my stand, these niggas would be fucking agreeing with me.
No,
so in the court of law,
so.
If this was a court case, you would lose.
No,
you would lose.
You know why?
What evidence have you given me thus far? And I've said this to you before.
Drake, Lil Wayne, you know,
that's not evidence.
Kanye West. These are all people. Here's my
that are cool.
I'm gonna break it down. I'm gonna break it down to you.
Nigga, Soulja Boy has a song with fucking Lil Wayne.
But that doesn't make him a GOAT.
My swag on remix. In fact, Soulja Boy remixed Drake's successful song and got a Lil Wayne verse on that.
But that doesn't make him a GOAT.
Though. Have any of that in recent fucking years?
Of course, I give you that. Soulja Boy is better than Bow Wow. I will admit to that. But if you're talking about GOAT status, he is not a Drake, Kanye West.
I just told you exactly why he's a GOAT. I just told you exactly why the man is a GOAT in like numerous ways that like I can't comprehend. In fact, I got to give myself a fucking pat on the back for this shit because I literally you've been debunked. I literally debunked your whole argument because you have not yet given me any tangible evidence. Because I'm looking at this shit in terms of the court of law. If we had a case and I'm like, you know what I'm saying, Dimitri, you know what I'm saying, MDJ podcast versus the Prince of Fresh Air podcast, and we're disputing, we're debating points, and we had to go off of evidence, the judge will look at you with the gavel like, you know, order in the court. Percy, where is your evidence? You have not presented any evidence.
You know what? All right, here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Niggas got me feeling like Keanu Reeves and goddamn Devil's Advocate type shit. Like you.
Hold on, give me a second. Give me a second. Here's why I don't consider Soulja Boy a GOAT, right? When you look at the Jay-Z's, the Michael Jacksons,
you told me this people, already.
No, but when you look at their careers, these are people whose music and status will always be remembered. Of course, Michael Jackson is just in a different echelon. Soulja Boy is popular for our generation, but he is not someone 30 years from now where we will be caring about him. We will not be talking about him. People don't care.
This is not our generation anymore.
But Soulja Boy is still in our generation
right now. Is not.
He's still in our generation.
Not my generation anymore. This is not. I don't look at this era of music as like my generation. I don't. Feel
it technically is though. Soulja Boy is older than us, but he's in our generation.
And shit like that. But who she making clap? And Rick and Morty, especially Rick and Morty, who that shit actually appeals to is not our fucking generation anymore. When
it is our generation.
No. When Soulja Boy goes streaming on Twitch, do you think it's niggas our age that are on his fucking Twitch? No, it's niggas younger than us. No, it's not. It's niggas way younger than us.
Because you know why? Because Soulja Boy, we grew up with Soulja Boy. That's why we grew up with Soulja Boy.
Wait, so who's on his Twitch streams?
I would say 18-year-olds to 27-year-olds.
Well, like I said,
that's our generation.
Nigga, 18. No. Kids that are 18 years old right now is not our generation, dog. That's not. These are kids. No. These are kids that grew up with social media. I didn't grow up with social media, nigga. I didn't grow up with no goddamn social media. These kids fucking did. Kids
so you talk. Hold on. Let me ask you a question.
Kids that are 18 years old. Remember Twitter when they were little ass fucking kids in the first and second grade. They knew what social media fucking was. All that shit existed when they were little ass kids. Like these niggas don't even fucking go outside. Soulja Boy appeals to a whole nother era right now. I didn't even know this YouTuber. His name is
Aiden. You don't?
No. You want to know why? Nigga, I'll tell you fucking why. There's this YouTuber, popping YouTuber named Aiden Ross. I didn't even fucking know this guy, but he's a fucking popping YouTuber. This nigga has Soulja Boy all on the stream and shit like that. That nigga Aiden Ross is not my fucking generation at all. And that nigga's like 18. Nigga just turned 19, 20 fucking years old. That nigga's not the fucking era of Soulja Boy, but yet he calling, mind you, millions of fucking subscribers, hundreds of thousands of fucking views, but yet he calling Soulja Boy to come in his house to be on his fucking streams. That's transcending a whole nother fucking era. That's a whole nother. That's a whole nother generation.
I could say Tekashi's been on different generations.
That's a whole nother generation that Soulja Boy is sitting in on. Niggas not calling Bow Wow to do what? Again, Bow Wow.
Soulja Boy fell off. Bow Wow fell off.
Bow Wow only got the and B2K and all them niggas. They only got the Millennium Tour. Why? Because that is just a big ass nostalgia tour. The Millennium Tour is not some shit that niggas is lining up to fucking see. They are vintage. Soulja Boy on that tour too. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, he can also appeal to certain people's nostalgia when he plays certain music. But in reality, right now, that nigga Soulja Boy better be one of the headlining acts. Because before He won like he I think he came on before or after Sammy. I don't know, but I bet you when they go back on tour now, that nigga's gonna come right before B2K. That nigga gonna come right before the headliners, because that's how it works. They have the bigger artists perform last, and then it goes in a fucking certain order. Right now, Soulja Boy will be the most lit person on that fucking tour. Honestly, because niggas is not.
Oh, of course, I agree.
Niggas is not talking about B2K. That's what I'm saying. So again, because it does not seem like you are going to, because it's like deja vu, because you keep moving the piece over and over. Like, I don't know, dude.
My stance hasn't changed though.
I would consider myself to be, a casual, superficial chess player, and I've seen this before. Like I'm looking at my screen right now, and I literally see like a chessboard, and you have no pieces left. And the more you elaborate, it's like the less pieces that you have. It's the less pieces that you have. It like, you know what I'm saying? Like at this point, any listener, like really, with like just honest with themselves, will know I'm telling the truth, because I told you I don't listen to this nigga's music now. I'm speaking on not music, because when you're talking about these ghosts, you're only talking about music. When I mentioned Tupac,
Jay-Z's a GOAT regardless. Drake is a GOAT regardless.
I didn't even talk about this nigga Tupac's music. I talked about what he did. I talked about what he did when he wasn't holding the fucking mic. That man did so much when he wasn't holding the fucking mic. Jay-Z did a lot when he wasn't holding the mic. Lil Wayne, 50. I need I say more about 50 fucking Cent?
Oh, of course.
50 Cent is a fucking GOAT without the fucking microphone. So a lot of these niggas that you're talking about, you take the microphone away from a lot of them. Who the fuck are they? I tell you who Soulja Boy is. Soulja Boy will be a fucking internet pioneer, internet motherfucking connoisseur. You take away rap from this nigga, he would still be Soulja Boy. Facts. You take away the fucking microphone away from Bow Wow, who will Bow Wow be? Nobody.
Like Mike.
Who would you? Exactly. Facts. You take away fucking the microphone away from the Migos. Like I said, I like the Migos and shit like that, but you take away the microphone away from them. Who are the Migos?
Oh, Migos is just.
You take away the microphone away from Drake.
Oh no, Drake is a GOAT. Drake is a GOAT regardless.
I don't know, but shit, you look at Lil Wayne. One of the greatest fucking A&Rs ever, because shit, I seen a fucking actor. I looked at his Instagram story, and he was like, ask me questions. And somebody asked him, oh, if there was a career that you would be doing outside of an actor, what would you do? The nigga said, oh, I would be a fucking A&R. Well, shit, an A&R is just a nigga that goes and tries to fucking find artists. How many people can say, oh, I found an artist like Drake? You know what I'm saying? I wish. There's a lot of motherfuckers that probably came, brush shoulders with Drake on his come up. I bet you they wish they fucking signed this nigga. But Lil Wayne did. Great artist. This is just what I'm saying. You're not great unless you transcend your profession, your field of interest. Michael Jordan transcended that shit. LeBron James opened schools. Soulja Boy, internet fucking connoisseur. Niggas was calling 50 Cent the king of New York. Niggas Lil Wayne called Lil Wayne best rapper alive. Motherfuckers called Soulja Boy king of the internet, because that's what the fuck he was. And then you look at this nigga now, he can still, be like, wake up one day, I'm trying to go viral. Boom. Just like that, nigga. I wish I could do that. Shit, I wish I could just fucking wake up one day and be like, I want to go viral and actually do that shit. And then not every artist can fucking wake up and do this shit. They can't. Because if everybody could be doing what Soulja Boy does and did, they would do it. But you know why? They can't. And that's what separates good people from the GOATs. And I might have to drop my mic on that, because you just, like I said, you my guy, but this is like some Stephen A. Smith. Like if Stephen A. Smith was in here, I wish Stephen A. Smith was fucking mediating this shit, because he would fucking agree with me. Shout out to fucking Stephen A. Smith. Like, this is it. This is it. Like Michael Jackson's last album. This is it. That's it.
Oh,
that's it.
Hey, what's all left to do? It's all left to the viewers. It's all up to them.
All up to the
because at the end of the day, my opinion is my opinion. Your opinion is your opinion. Now, I'm not saying nobody's wrong or right. I'm just saying everybody has different opinions. Do people who think Soulja Boy is a GOAT? Do people not consider him a GOAT? That's up to the people to decide.
Yeah. But
that was good.
Motherfuckers know what this shit really fucking is. Facts. Niggas,
most definitely.
If motherfuckers was actually listening to this shit from start to fucking finish, you know what the fuck it is. And then if you don't, you a hater. And that's cool too. Like I said, there's a lot of motherfuckers I hate. You know what I'm saying? But hey, it is what it is. So
But you
The
know
video
what
will
though?
be timestamped and shit like
Most
that.
definitely.
I hope y'all made it to the end of this video and shit like that. And any last words, my nigga? I don't want to hear anything about no fucking Soulja Boy shit like that. You tell niggas where they can find you some shit.
Soulja Boy is a GOAT. You know, this whole video was a great. It's always a pleasure working with you, Dimitri. You can find me on IG at Mr. No Days Off Percy. You can find me on Audible, Spotify, Apple Podcasts as the Prince of Fresh Air with my podcast. Dimitri is a frequent guest on there. You know, thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
Nah, no doubt. The video will be timestamped. Like I said before, you can find the timestamps in the description. And I will see y'all on the next one. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Peace.
Peace.
How the fuck do I end this shit? Oh, okay.